green.
Holy moly.
Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you! Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip.
Rain like hell, baby, come on!
Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
How's it going, y'all? Welcome to the NASCAR Weekly podcast. We're once again on my channel this week. Apologies for the 6-7 minute delay. I did see a military helicopter flying around earlier today. I don't know if I got hit with an EMP or something, but my internet was struggling, was not able to start the stream on time as scheduled. We apologize. I apologize. But we're all here today to talk about Kansas. We're going to talk about Kurt Busch's big win. We're going to talk about some of the other hottest and trendiest news and rumors going around the NASCAR world this week. We're also going to preview the All-Star race, the Texas All-Star race. That's why I'm wearing the Dr. Pepper t-shirt here today. We've also got a very special guest, a fan favorite. We've got S1apSh0es joining us. How's it going, man? Hey. You told us you woke up from a nap like 15 minutes ago, right? You look very well put together.
Yeah, I didn't set an alarm, and then Erik sent me a text on Twitter DMs, and I was like, oh, crap, I gotta get up, I gotta go.
Well, you look pretty put together if that's the case. We appreciate you being here. Talking a little racing, we've got our usual panel. Danny and Darian are in the same building.
Hi, Danny.
Hey.
That's very cute. I'm very jealous. Jarrett's, this is the last episode you'll be doing from that garage. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to be in, let's see, it currently is what, 7 o'clock Central Time. So in about like 36 hours, I'm going to be down basically where those two are in Nashville, Hendersonville. So, yep.
Wow. It's a party in Tennessee, apparently, and everyone's invited. Well, we're going to talk Kansas first and foremost. Let's just kick things off with the Cup Series race. Kurt Busch gets a win. It was a fan favorite, it seemed. It was also a favorite in the garage. You saw how many drivers came up to congratulate him afterwards, not just Toyota teammates, but I saw guys like Tyler Reddick, other drivers coming up to say congratulations. I want to start off with you, Danny. What did you make of Kurt Busch getting this win? And I don't know, personally, it felt a little eerie to me seeing all these drivers give him like a high five, like this is his last hurrah. Like, I think he's still got something left. What do you think?
He's still good for one win a year, and he's proving that, each time he gets one of these wins. And, it felt good for 2311 Racing to get that first win that wasn't rain delayed. So, it felt good for everyone to be involved with that one. And just overall, what more can you want from a storyline like that? And the fact that, yeah, he had to outduel Kyle Larson in the closing laps, but he did have to beat Kyle Busch for a little while in that race. And he always seems to have to beat Kyle Busch whenever he gets that win here lately for some reason.
And the interesting part about that is towards the end of the race, I mean, with how, competitive Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch have been over the years, it seemed like, at least to me, that Kyle Busch let Kurt Busch go towards the end of that race there, towards those final laps.
Yeah, maybe. He did come up and congratulate him there at the end. So he definitely was not... I feel like we've seen him more bitter about losing to his brother in the past, but not this one for some reason.
It did look like to me, though, he cut him a bit of slack, but it was still hard racing, though, at the end of the day.
He might have just known that Kurt had a better car. The Toyotas were fast all day, but especially the 2311 Toyotas. I know we'll talk about Bubba a little bit later on. Jarrett, what do you think of Kurt's win, just in a nutshell?
I mean, I'm happy about it. Kurt Busch, fellow Cubs fan, I have to enjoy that. But he's somebody who has definitely turned his career around, that's for sure. And it's really good to see that as the years go on. But I'm not going to say that like all problems are solved just yet. Yes, Kurt Busch had speed this year, but it's been very hit or miss with him. So, I mean, it's good in the sense, of course, that he makes the playoffs, that he basically takes the next half of the regular season to just go for broke. But I wouldn't say just yet that he by any means has all the problems figured out. I'm pretty sure when you take away the playoff stuff altogether and just straight up points, I think he's like 19th right now, so it's still not great. But it is good for 2311, the Jordan brand, to get into victory lane. But I overall I'm really happy with it. I like Kurt Busch. He's one of my top 5 favorite ones out there if I have favorites, and pretty popular win. I want to see if he can get more than one for once.
Yeah.
When's the last time he had multiple wins in a season?
2015.
I just looked that up. He's had one win a year going all the way back to 2014, say for 2015 where he had two.
Wow.
Yep.
So he's got one win, so situation normal for Kurt Busch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
similar
like you
to
said,
Ricky
Jared,
Rudd's career.
And he's won in all 4 manufacturers that he's drove for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's another
Even Dodge. And you made a good point, though, Jarrett, that he was pretty far outside the playoff picture until he got this win. So we joke about this question every year. It's the same as like, do you think Gibbs will get all 4 championship 4 spots? Like stuff like that. But we've got 11 different winners through the first 13 races, including a rookie, Austin Cindric, including Kurt Busch, who was outside the top 20 in points. Do you think we get more than 16 winners? Or do you think we get 16? Like over under 16.5 or 15.5?
I'll go first. I'm gonna go under. I bid on this last year and it didn't work for me. Sometimes drivers we expect to win are gonna suffer slumps. Sometimes guys, like people will be like, I think it was Steve Woutart said this week. People are like, oh, they gotta get the win. It's definitely coming for them, and it's like, no, it's never guaranteed that it's coming for them. So I'm gonna say that we're going to start seeing a lot more repeat winners, and it's not going to hit 16 or probably even 15. I think we'll hit 14 at a max.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jared on that, under around the 13 to 14 range. I mean, again, you saw this last year too. We thought, okay, it's going to be like 16 or more winners, but then all of a sudden Hendrick Motorsports started dominating out of nowhere. So, but yeah, we'll start to see a lot more multiple winners this year, and we might have, a couple of more new winners maybe, but yeah, under.
Yeah, I'm going to say under. As much as I'd like to see 16, I think 14, 15 is where we're going to get.
Slap, you can be bold.
Yeah, I'm going to say over. We got a lot of tracks coming up that are one-offs. We got Gateway, which is completely brand new to the Cup Series. We got, new car. It seems like every time we roll to a track, we see a lot of guys who have either never won or won a few races in their career, always up towards the front. So, I mean, anything can happen. I'm going to say 17.
See, I'm going to say 16 because you look at some of the names that haven't won yet this year, like Blaney, like Truex, Keselowski, and now you even got 2311 showing speed. And obviously Tyler Reddick has been really close. Austin Dillon is known for sneaking into a win here or there. I just think you have too many guys that we're used to seeing win who haven't won yet. And with 13 races to go into the playoffs, a lot of wild card tracks like Slap just mentioned, I think we'll get to 16, right at 16. That's my guess. But we'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about Kyle Larson though, because while Kurt Busch won the race, I thought Kyle Larson stole the show today with some of those moves he was putting on. That slide job that he ultimately failed, but when he hung it all the way out at like a 45-degree angle, tapped the wall, Kurt passed back, like that was just fun, right? Like a Slap. What did you think of Larson putting that move on Kurt?
I looked like a dirt track move. I thought for a while, I was like, hey, hold on, dude. It's not a dirt track, man. You can't be doing that. But yeah, if that wall wasn't there, if that was old Atlanta and he had like 10 feet more space, yeah, he would have lost it. But it goes to show you how like sturdy these new cars are. The guys can go up there, hit the wall, and just keep on going. Corey LaJoie at Atlanta got airtime and then came back and I think he finished 7th. So
we saw multiple cars all weekend hit the wall. I mean, Cole Custer during the race hit the wall. Kevin Harvick, he saved
a lot of guys smacked the wall pretty hard.
And they still kept
doing
going.
The Gen 4, Gen 5 car. So
and Larson alone hit it a few times. There was another point he was outside of. I think it was Kurt, maybe it was Kyle, and both of them kind of got tight on exiting 4. And Larson hit it pretty hard, and he still finished second. Like I just think that's ridiculous.
I thought maybe you can slam these cars up and bend all that sheet metal, all that composite body and everything, but the tires won't be able to handle it. But for the most part, those right sides held up. It was the left rears everybody was talking about failing.
I guess you can. I guess maybe you can hit the wall hard with these cars, but not too hard, if that makes sense. I mean, we saw Tyler Reddick. I mean, he got up in the loose stuff there, and it cost him his race there too. So
Jamie McMurray was saying.
So I don't know. I guess it varies on how hard they hit it. But
this composite body has a tendency to snap back, unlike sheet metal, which just bends in and just stays there. So with composite, it's way more brittle, so it doesn't bend. It will it'll snap back, but if you go beyond that limit, it just breaks.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like seeing one of the good factors of the Xfinity series the last couple of years is that those cars are pretty indestructible as long as you don't do something completely stupid with them or crash them or something like that. And I think that, obviously I'm going to say it's a good thing. It's just that it gives the drivers that little bit extra that they can push the cars now. And seeing Kyle Larson do that, I mean, he's the one you're going to expect to do it. But I would say, like you said, Eric, he stole the show. And what I liked about Kyle Larson versus Kurt Busch is, and I saw a lot of people for some reason complaining that it was a dirty move. But Kurt Busch squeezed him up, and Larson didn't have room and got into the wall, while going against him. And then after the race, Larson was pretty fair about it, from
I never
all
touched each
perspectives.
other, so
Yeah, it was just hard racing, and that's I like that because it is not the first time that Kyle Larson has been in the middle of a battle like that and afterwards gotten out smiling. He wasn't done dirty. It was hard racing, and in the end, the guy with the better car ended up winning it over him. He got beat.
And not many times we've seen Larson in those situations where he just gets out drove like that. Chicagoland 2018, 2019, and then this one are the only ones that come to my mind.
So the two Busch brothers have at least outdueled Kyle Larson at least once there in those final laps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
historically, Kyle Larson doesn't do too well with slide job moves.
He's missed a couple of them, but
It's fun as hell to watch. It's really fun to see in
it's
person.
entertaining, that's for sure.
He's at least fared a little bit better than Chase Briscoe has. We know how that one worked out for him.
Yeah.
Was that what that was supposed to be, a slide job that he pulled
I
on
don't know
Reddick?
what it was.
Hey, at least the car didn't dig into the grass when he spun out though. That was good to see.
Oh yeah, this week. Yeah, that's
It's another positive about these next
small
shows.
victories for sure. Well, a big victory though was Toyota across the board. We've talked about Kurt Busch winning, but they had 5 Toyotas finish in the top 6. All 6 main Toyota cars finished in the top 10, with Bubba bouncing back for 10th. So, Jarrett, I'll start with you. Does this mean Toyota's back? Like we said that just after Richmond when they had a bunch of guys up in the top 5, but now they're fast at 1.5 miles. And we know Truex and Kyle Busch, either one of them could have won Las Vegas earlier this year. Does this mean that Gibbs actually has something for Hendrick?
I would want to see at least what happens with the 600, but I would say right now I'd give the edge, not just Gibbs, but Toyota in general. This was pointed out after the race, that I believe Bubba Wallace led the field with most quality green flag passes at 60, which is, it passes in the top 15. He had a pretty fast car. Kurt Busch had the best car of the day. I mean, he was the dominant car, but the JGR cars up front all day. It's the same thing we saw at Las Vegas. This time there wasn't the late caution that saved and bailed out Hendrick. So I'm going to say the edge right now goes to JGR, but more importantly, Toyota as a whole. I just want to see what happens at the 600. Once we get about 3.5 mile races in, I think we can say it's a trend rather than just, kind of happenstance with it.
Yeah,
like Isaac says in the chat,
a 1.5 miles, and then let's see what happens.
Yeah, I need to see a few more 1.5 mile races, but the 600, that'll definitely be a true test there. That being the longest 1.5 mile race of the season, of course.
Yeah, I was going to highlight Isaac and a couple other people in the chat said basically the same thing. Give it a couple more races and then we'll really see. They got to build up some momentum, which I do want to mention in the chat. We have almost 600 people watching live right now. We've gotten a bunch of super chats from some of the usual crowd. We'll get to those at roughly the top of the hour, so really appreciate the support. Slap, I want to talk to you about this because you mentioned tires. You brought up the left rears earlier. That was a big storyline all race long where the left rear tires, after about 20-25 laps, it seemed it was kind of like a game of Russian roulette. One of the front runners was going to lose a left rear. We saw the leader of the race a couple different times blew a left rear. What'd you make of that? Did you think that enhanced the racing? Do you feel like that it was on the teams? Do you think Goodyear is to blame for that? Like, what was your takeaway watching those issues?
It's with a new car and everything. It's everybody's going to be pushing them to the limit, and usually when you have like a consistent tire failure, it's the right sides. I don't think anybody anticipated losing left rears like that. I think it's probably more teams trying to push tire pressures than anything, and just trying to get whatever advantage they can get, and so they pushed it to its limit, and that's why we had so many tire failures, and probably we got a lot of 1.5 mile tracks that are similar to Kansas, and we didn't have any left side tire problems, so I'd have to put that one squarely on the teams unless we run into another similar problem later. Then you can start pointing fingers at Goodyear.
No one here was at the race, right? None of us were there.
No.
Because I was looking, I think I looked at the weather and it looked like it was in the 70s during the race. So it wasn't like it was a super hot race or a cold race. It was a pretty even temperature race. So I thought that might have played a role. But yeah, I don't know why Kansas explicitly would be so rough on left rears, or teams would feel the need to be so aggressive and be pushing the limits too far. But I think it's easy to say it shook up the race. I mean, William Byron had a flat while leading. Christopher Bell had a flat while leading. Other guys like Truex, Chase Elliott, while they're in the top 5, top 10, had flat tires. Suarez had a flat tire, ended his race. Reddick had a flat tire after I think he hit the wall, so that was a little unrelated. But the rest of you guys, like, when you see tire wear, I think we all agree that makes for good racing. But when you see consistent tire failures, did that take away from the racing for you guys, like the quality of the action, or were you kind of okay with, some of these teams are just going to push the issue? That's a risk you got to take.
I mean, like, me personally, like, I mean, it was just I enjoyed it just because, I mean, that's also a part of racing strategy as well and stuff. Knowing how much air to put in and out of these tires and stuff. And some teams were just on the edge and they skirted over the edge, and we saw it, with all of the tire failures. But I did find it funny that, like, after the first one, like, every single team went on pit lane and added, like, pumped up their tires even more and stuff. They're like, no, we can't risk it. So it definitely played a huge role.
It's like, it is interesting how this is happening as we're getting into the summertime, so it's really making me think that the hot temperatures, the increased track temperatures, has something to do with this.
I don't think this won't be the last time we see it. Let's just say that.
Because we saw this a little bit earlier in the season at Auto Club, which was honestly really hot temperatures because it was out in California.
So some of these summer mile-and-a-half races, they're going to be more interesting now.
Like what Darian was saying, a lot of these teams adjusted, and we saw fewer tire failures later in the race. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, as it went on, they started figuring out, hey, we can't have this low, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a mix of that and as well as how the drivers drove it. I mean, we saw this in a couple races, like Darlington, for instance, where drivers had to basically almost relearn how to take care of their stuff during the race. And I think it's just part of a learning process.
Well, not tire related explicitly, but wheel related. I think the comic relief of the day was easily the Erik Jones fiasco on pit road, where they couldn't get the wheel nut off, and they brought basically every tool out of their toolbox. I don't know. That was crazy. I appreciated that the crew was able to kind of laugh about it after the fact.
What do you do with that?
Mercedes would like to know your location.
They got it off eventually, though. I think they deserve.
It didn't take them 2 days in the lab to figure out how to unweld it from the axle.
Yeah, they basically had to cut it off, man. Like,
yeah, they had to cut it off.
It was funny because so like, with me moving down, we were having like a moving away party and stuff. And the funny thing about it is that like a bunch of us started like huddling around, like waiting, seeing what they would have to do to get it. And there's like every time they get something, they get one tool, and then they get a bigger tool and a bigger one and bigger one as it went.
And that Viking dude on pit road with the beard.
And as soon as they got it off, like, we had the same reaction they did. We're like, yes, finally!
But it sucks because, again, it goes back. Erik Jones needs to point his way in. I don't know if he'll necessarily get a win this year, but now more valuable points down the drain for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, he had a good top 10 run going at the time. So at this point, I didn't read the whole thread, but the one of the crew guys for Erik Jones, I'm blanking on his name, but he's very active on Twitter. He was giving a lot of interesting insight on the single lug nut a few weeks ago. I think we mentioned it on the show. I don't remember explicitly, but he kind of took the blame and said that it was kind of a team error. They over-tightened the nut or something like that, something that they believe they can prevent in the future. So, like, I'm not sure. I was wondering, is this going to be like a common occurrence? Is this like another sort of issue or unforeseen problem with the next gen that teams have to adjust to? It doesn't really sound like that, but it obviously cost Erik Jones.
You mean to tell me now, now we might have problems with over tightening the lug nut? Along with
it's a very narrow sweet spot they're trying to hit now. Yeah.
So you can't tighten it up enough, and now you're gonna over tighten it. Man, this single lug nut, man, is just throwing in so many issues with the teams this year. I didn't think it would be this big of a deal, but it is.
No. Yeah, I may be misparaphrasing it a little bit, but I find it. Maybe add to the description.
It also might be like the angle of the gun. If you don't come at it straight on, you got a little bit of an angle and rev it up, it'll shear off some of that angle of the nut, and then now you can't get a lock on it.
Gotcha.
That would make sense. No, I think that might have even been what it was. I shouldn't be talking about it. I don't remember it for sure. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but yeah, it was it was funny. At least they can laugh at it, even though it ruined a pretty good day for a small team that needed a good day. Talk about someone who had a good day. Jamie McMurray in the Fox booth,
Yes.
I think got almost universal praise, and from what I've seen, I saw Denny Hamlin on Twitter basically wrote an open letter to Fox Sports saying they should hire him for the rest of this season and next season. I'd co-sign on that. I think it should be the Mac and Mac show alongside Mike Joy next year with Larry McReynolds filling that sort of crew chief analyst role. Slap, what did you think of Jamie McMurray in the booth, and would you like to hear more of him?
I mean, it seemed like the whole production was like on a different level than what we've seen for the rest of the year. Like the camera work was better. It seemed like Mike Joy and Clint Boyer were, playing off of each other a little bit better. And I think that, Jamie McMurray's role in that, probably had a lot to do with it, because he was really insightful, would have these really, some of this good banter, him going back and forth with Clint Boyer about, the All-Star race. It's like, oh, I was able to win it. You had to race your way in, like them, yakking at each other.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. I think he's really good in the booth. I'd like to see him back in there.
On that note, real quick, what I thought really worked well between the two of them is the fact that they are kind of on that same level when you look at their career stats.
Yeah.
I think off the top of my head, Boyer has like 10 career wins. McMurray had like 7, but he won some big races. So they're kind of equal. When you bring Jeff Gordon in with Clint Boyer, I'm sorry, there's no competition. It's
like the Burton brothers. Jeff Burton on paper was way better, but Ward Burton won the Southern 500 like twice, won the Daytona 500.
As a result, they're kind of put on that same pedestal.
What was the biggest race that Boyer won in his career?
I mean, he won the race that Kyle Busch and Jr. got into it at Richmond.
He won it.
Yeah.
I remember him winning at Sonoma in 2012.
Yeah, I remember that was a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Damn.
I guess that's the difference between him and McMurray. Like you're like McMurray, Brickyard
Now,
400, Daytona 500, Charlotte.
Boyer,
Talladega.
I think his most dominant track was without a doubt New Hampshire. Though he had multiple wins there at one point in his career. I think.
And he didn't he have multiple wins at Talladega too. He won 2 years in a row.
He has at least one win that I know of. Yeah, in 2011.
Was it him,
2010
him
and
or Burton that
2011.
won that one?
It was him. It was Boyer.
Oh, him and Burton
He
were
was pushed.
drafting.
Yeah.
But McMurray in the booth though, he was extremely solid, and he definitely fed off of like Mike Joy and Clint Boyer very well. And I don't know, I feel like he would be like a perfect guy to have in full time and stuff, because he's one of the more recent drivers to retire and stuff and make that transition too. And I feel like he's like somewhere in the middle of he's not gonna be as goofy as like a Clint Boyer. But then he's not going to be, too boring neither. He's definitely in the middle.
He's got the right amount of personality. He's got a good voice, and for lack of better words, he aesthetically he's pleasing to the eye. I'm not. That's the best way I can word it. For TV, he works.
Chat, get him, chat.
I didn't know where that sentence was
some
going.
people
I
have a
didn't
face
expect
for radio. He doesn't. Let's say that.
Yeah, all right, there you
Danny
go.
didn't leave his wife for Jamie Mack.
Oh man, I
Took a
feel
turn,
like my
suddenly.
point is irrelevant now.
I'm not hating.
Okay, y'all know what I meant. Moving on.
Claudia.
She's not here.
No, but kind of get it back on the track. I think what helps McMurray is that McMurray immediately went straight into TV production, does Race Hub, does different weekly and weekend shows for Fox. So I think that's what helped him too. He has experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bal of the Art in the chat says, "Don't worry, Danny. We all get lost in the frosted tips."
Oh my God.
Good point though there, Jared. I thought what highlighted the difference between McMurray and Boyer for me was the 2 in-race interviews they did. After stage 1, McMurray called up Kyle Busch and asked him a very insightful question about hey, it looks like the top lane's not coming in. Do you think which lane will be better? Blah blah. And Kyle Busch kind of gave a decent answer. When Boyer interviewed Kurt Busch at the end of stage 2, he just did his whole, "All right, what you got out there, buddy?" And Kurt Busch gave him a real generic, boring answer, bad for TV. So I thought that was where the difference really was highlighted.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more McMurray. And, personally, I think a guy like McReynolds would fit better. I thought Boyer was okay this past weekend, but I just think characters like Clint Boyer, I made this analogy on my show, but, Rutledge Wood is fine on TV in the role he's given. He's not in the TV booth alongside Dale Jr. and Rick Allen. He's kind of the bonus guy, the sideline reporter. I think Boyer would fit that role better than on-air constant analyst role. Personally, that's just me. But a few quick shout-outs before we look at the points. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. collected his third straight top 10 this week, and he finished 8th. So considering he was outside the top 30 in points just a few weeks ago, I think that's a pretty remarkable, boost, a little turnaround. We mentioned Bubba Wallace. I want to talk about him for just a moment because he came back to finish 10th, but he had 2 penalties on pit road, including one very late in the race. He'd driven up into 5th, I believe. Mm-hmm. They came down pit road under caution, and the team let the right front tire get away and ended up bouncing around pit road, got a penalty. Bubba Wallace, obviously, that was the best car I think he's had all season. Best chance he's had to win since Talladega last year, and his team blew it. And racing is a team sport. Your team's going to blow it from time to time, but this was a pretty epic implosion by his pit crew. So, Darian, I'll start with you. Does something need to change over there at 2311?
Well, yeah. I mean, I had brought this up after the Dirt Bristol race. There was an issue with Bubba's engine and stuff, and I guess there was some audio too during the red flag that it came out on Twitter where basically the team just had no idea what they were doing, and then Bubba's engine basically exploded once they got back on track and stuff. So look, even Denny Hamlin said it after Kurt Busch's win. By the way, as Kurt Busch is driving off after congratulating him face to face. He immediately says afterwards, as Kurt Busch is driving off, we as an organization have let both Kurt and Bubba down this year. And I was like, dang, he said that after a win because he realized, he even asked, his crew chief what happened to Bubba later in the race and stuff, and that's a whole nother thing I didn't think about. I'm like, oh yeah, now Denny Hamlin is still new to this whole ownership role, so he's trying to focus on his own race, but now he's like, oh, what the hell happened and stuff, because he saw, at one point in that final stage, him, Bubba Wallace, Kurt Busch, all in the top 5. Nobody predicted that would happen a freaking week ago. We were talking about, hey, what's going on with this team, But, hey, a win definitely changes a lot of things. And, it was also very encouraging to see Bubba Wallace, actually compete, for, top 5s, top 10s, and even a win like that, too, straight up.
This year has just been atrocious to watch for the most part.
It has. But, this time, obviously you can, make the arguments and stuff Bubba Wallace, he's definitely made some mistakes this year, but this week, the stuff that happened last weekend, not his fault, though.
I don't think he would have won.
He would have gotten a top 5, I felt.
I think Kurt still had more speed. But I think we could have easily seen a 1-2 finish. I think that could have happened.
That could have been a possibility.
He was passing cars very seemingly easy and good cars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's that team has basically just been a nonstop gaff show all year, and when it's when they show up, the team screws up. This happened last year, I believe. I think the first one that we can remember this happening was Phoenix last year. Bubba drives up throughout the day, car gets better. It's just methodically getting better through the day. I think he was 6th or 7th. And then the crew screws up, or the crew chief screws up with the strategy, and the crew screws up after that. And it's just been the entire tone of that 23 team. And it's happened with the 45 a lot. Earlier this year, Kurt Busch, I believe after Atlanta, was 5th in points and dropped down to 21st. And yeah, some of that had to do with some crashes here or there, but it was bad strategy. It was bad, different calls on pit road, different, the pit crew itself, some driver error with the 23. But it's it seems like anything that they can do to shoot themselves in the foot, they do. So I don't know at this point in the season what you do. I wouldn't take away from the 45 team. They're definitely the better team right now. So what do? Do you ask for people from JGR to come over, backup guys from there? Do you look in the Xfinity series for guys that are doing well? They're not even doing the same kind of pit stops now because they're doing 5 lugs versus 1.
Yeah.
So I feel like the 23 team, especially, they're kind of stuck with what they got right now, and they just need to get better.
Yeah, I think simple as that for sure. He still came back to finish 10th, and as you mentioned earlier, Jarrett, you quoted that stat where he led the field in quality green flag passes this past weekend, so at least there's something to hang your hat on. A couple other notables, your boy, Brad Keselowski, got the win. Your S1apSh0es boy, none of us refer Brad Keselowski. I know Slap does. Brad with the solid top 15 finish. Oh, save that for later. My goodness, you tease. Noah Gragson, I want to highlight him. I think this was his first race he finished really without incident this year.
Yeah,
he's made 2 or 3 other Cup starts this year, and they've either ended with crashes or mechanical
This was
failures.
his first
but they've
non-super
all-
speedway cup start of the season.
And he did
That's also
Bristol
true.
Dirt. So all the
Bristol
races
Dirt.
he's done have been
Oh, yeah.
wild card
Yeah.
races.
That's true. I guess this is his first straightforward race he's done in Cup, and he finished 18th. I think that's very respectable. He was on the lead lap pretty much all day. And Corey LaJoy, I want to highlight, also got a solid top 20. Always happy when LaJoy does well.
Spires
Real quick,
low-key not bad.
Yeah, they're pretty good this
Real
year.
quick, I want to run through the playoff cut line now that we're officially halfway through the regular season. We have 11 winners, obviously, but let's start at 14th place. Christopher Bell, 48 points to the good. Kevin Harvick is currently 15th, plus 24. Eric Almirola is plus 11. He is the
Falling
last
down.
guy in
Falling
right
a little
now. 17th and 18th are the two RCR guys. Austin Dillon is minus 11 and Tyler Reddick is minus 22. Continuing to fall just a little further below that cut line almost every week, it feels. He wrecked again this week. It just has not been good since his near miss at Bristol. Erik Jones, we mentioned with the issue with the wheel. He's 19th now, minus 32. And Daniel Suarez, who was running in the top 5 with his teammate Ross Chastain early in this race, he wrecked out. He's 49 points out currently in 20th. So any big highlights there? Definitely was disappointed to see Suarez cut a tire down early on. That was a bummer.
I feel like a lot of the highlights are below the cut line. I mean, like Austin Dillon, like he's right around where I expected him to be. But then you look at those at the last three: Tyler Reddick, Erik Jones, Daniel Suarez. You can make a case have had some of the worst luck this year, you know, in all of the 2022 season thus far. And I'm like, dang, if that race would have gone a different way, if this race would have gone a different way, perhaps they would be a whole lot closer, if not in the top 16. You know, like Tyler Reddick to me has been the most stake-bitten driver this year, though. Just of all the chances he's had to win, and then at Kansas, the very beginning of the race, hey, it's looking promising. He's like 3-4 seconds ahead of second place, leading the race, and then all of a sudden has the issues. But then Daniel Suarez, I don't think is too far behind either, running in the top 5, and then he has those issues too.
And
it's crazy.
Granted, he's climbed way up the point standings, but man, what about Christopher Bell? He's becoming like Ryan Newman, getting poles like crazy.
That's
3
a crazy
poles
comeback
this
he's
year.
had. Yeah.
But yeah, he's not finishing the races where he needs to
Just
be.
isn't.
Well, I mean, he is because he climbed up from outside the top 30 now, plus 48 good, but still.
One guy I want to talk about is Almirola on 16. So starting off the year, he was pretty much the most consistent guy. He finished 5th, 6th, 6th, and 12th the first 4 races. Since then, he's only had 3 top 15s. He finished 8th at Martinsville. This is his lone top 10 in the last 10 races, or I should say 4 top 15s. He, with the 12th at Phoenix, he had a 13th at Talladega, which I don't think we can really factor into overall performance, and then an 11th at Darlington. I'll give him that. But other than that, when you look at the last couple races, he's finished 26th at Kansas, 19th at Dover, 23rd at Bristol Dirt, again, kind of an outlier there, but 21st at Richmond. He finished 19th at COTA, not very inspiring finish there, 22nd in Atlanta, so, bad luck overall. But it's like he's slowly but surely just fallen back in the pack. He's not as bad as last year, but he is definitely not, top 16 level, especially if the threat of, 14, 15 winners comes into play. I personally don't think without a win, Almirola is able to make it this year without luck.
Honestly, I feel the same way about Harvick, plus 24. I think he's going to need to win a race to make the playoffs, and I don't think he will.
I want to see how Harvick's done really quick. I have his stats pulled up here.
But also too, I just thought about this too. Like, I mean, seeing Harvick and Almirola like just barely on the on the inside of the cut line right now. I mean, it even shows that Stewart-Haas Racing too. To me, like they've been one of the more disappointing teams in my opinion to me this year. It's like all last year we were talking about, okay, this is just a one of those rebuilding years. They're getting ready for the new car and stuff, and then Stewart-Haas Racing is officially going to be back, right? Well, outside of Chase Briscoe, I mean, what's happening there? I mean, like Chase Briscoe, yeah, he has the one win, but I mean, even he's not running that consistent.
He's not consistent, yeah.
Well, I have Harvick stuff pulled up here, taking out the crash at Bristol Dirt, because I think that's the one lone outlier. But again, those things do weigh you down. Since COTA, he's been 11th, 2nd, 14th, 10th, 9th, 4th, 15th.
Where was the second at?
Richmond.
That's right.
That,
That's right. He was chasing Hamlin. They were on the strategy.
Outside of that, he finished 4th at Darlington. The noticeable stat for me this year which shows that he's definitely not an elite level by any means, is that I can tell you right now the races he's led. He led a lap at Fontana, 11 at Atlanta, and 1 at Darlington.
Oh.
That's it. He's led 13 laps this year.
That's what I mean. He's not. I don't think he's going to win a race this regular season. And like I said earlier, I think we'll get 16 winners. I think a guy like Reddick, maybe even Suarez or Austin Dillon or Jones is going to sneak in and steal a win. I just feel like Harvick's going to have to win, and I don't think he's capable of it right now.
Yeah, I think he's in a must-win situation. As power mad as this season's been so far, I think he's going to have to show up and he's going to have to win one of these things.
Yeah, and I feel like
I think he can get it done. I think he can get it done. You know, we got Darlington coming up. It's historically been one of his better tracks. You know, plate tracks are still coming up. Those are a crapshoot. Who knows what he could do there? But I think he could get a win, but he's going to have to buckle down and get something figured out and really push for it.
Yeah. And I also feel like in general, just in this playoff era, like if you're like in the 14th to 16th range, like during the regular season, you're not really safe anyways, because anybody from, you know, below the top 30 or below the cut line, you know, they can just get a win and then boom, like you lose one of your spots, unfortunately, and then you're on the outside looking in, or you're barely inside there. So yeah,
that's true. He's in the danger zone. He's in the red zone.
Yes.
But real quick, we have a couple more things before we get off the Cup race. TV ratings, real quick. Race was on FS1 Sunday afternoon. Got a 1.43 rating, 2.337 million average. Viewers, not great. Down 12% in ratings, 15% in viewership from this same race last year. Jarrett, you noted this before the show, but the number of viewers they had in that, you know, more highly coveted 18 to 49 demographic, only 371,000, which is equals to about 16% of their total audience. That's not great. I know it's typically older people, it skews older who watches things on TV these days, but still, you need that younger demographic to be higher than it is. You need that. F1 is more than double that these days, and in the United States. And I think NASCAR, that's something they need to continue to focus on, because it's just not there. So,
it's way lower than usual.
And that's true. This was lower than most even NASCAR races have been as far as the 18 to 49 demo.
But still not good, because you know, people pointed out the NBA game going against it and stuff like that. But even compared to when NBA went against NASCAR in 2018 and 19 in comparable races, the 18 to 49 was a lot larger. And I see people in the chat kind of like, you know, pointing out that 18 to 49, it's a wide range, but that is the range that TV providers, sponsors, everyone important to putting on races outside of NASCAR itself look at. So as we can laugh at it all we want, but it's like, this is a very important number that NASCAR, quite frankly, has struggled with for the last 15 years. And it should raise a bit of alarm bells for NASCAR and have them kind of ask the question, like, what was different this time compared to pretty much the last, I would say, you know, pretty much all season comparatively.
Yeah. Ratings overall this year have been up. Kansas was a notable tick down. Not sure exactly why. It does feel like some of the momentum on the ratings front kind of faltered since that Dover rain out got pushed to Monday. But also, you're starting to get a bunch more races on cable. Cable ratings are always lower than broadcast ratings. Still, who knows? Everyone's got a different theory. TV seems difficult to predict these days. Before we get off the Cup race entirely, though, Jarrett, it's time for that time. Or I'm sorry, Darian. What time is it?
The pole! The famous iceberg pole!
I know. Everyone loves when we blow out their eardrums. Thank you, Darian. What's going on there, Jarrett? What did our beloved viewers say about this race?
So we had 13.9 thousand votes, just under 14,000. 56% said it was a great race. 31% said it was a good one, meaning the net positivity was 87%, which is for the most part higher than any other Kansas races. 9% said it was average, and 2 apiece said it was below average and bad, meaning 4% net negativity, which actually is a low this season. But looking at some of the...
Like this is one of the best or the least negative races of the year?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
We've had races that have been in the 80s positive wise that have been between 6 and 12% negative this year. So it is, you know, it was generally a pretty well received race. Looking at the comments here, top one that popped up, at least on my end, is from Ben_Aflac. Says, outside of tire failures, this race was fantastic. Noah Coleman says, yes, our annual Kurt win has arrived. Great racing, but these tires, no pun intended. These tires blow, no pun intended, 9 out of 10. Yeah, my bad on that one. English is tough. Also, can't help but notice Kurt's last 4 wins have all been on 1.5 miles. So that's something to note. Let's scroll down a little bit here. I have it up right here. Everything NASCAR says, great race, got boring at some points, but so happy for Kurt Busch. I would say another success. I'm going to spoil it right now. You guys can guess positive or negative because this was the first comment, but it was also highly voted. It's from Denny Delivers, positive or negative?
Positive.
It's just a meme.
He says, what a race. Had lots of fun watching the 2022 Advent Health 400, except 2022 Advent Health 400 is crossed out and in bold behind it. 2008 Brickyard 400. I don't think it's that.
Dang,
wasn't that
he does
bad.
his memes.
Jeez.
That's right. I'm just gonna start saying meme from now on.
Yeah.
That's his name.
I'll take
Positive.
on that one.
Positive, negative meme. That'll be
Chaotic neutral.
Jacob Hale says, I'm starting to think the 2% of voters that voted bad are bots. Even if your driver sucked or DNF'd, it was a fun race to watch.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it feels like it never fails. Have we ever gotten like 1% bad?
The first poll.
The
only
first
1%.
ever.
Yeah, but that one only had like 500 votes or something.
That's
so,
before the bots
wow.
found us. Now we're big enough for the bots.
Humble beginnings on the podcast.
Austin Higgins brings this one up. Says, Kurt is officially a fan favorite. I remember Kurt his whole career looked so low, sad back in the early 2010s. So glad that a good soul is getting a happy ending. At least on the track. Let's see. Spencer says, go a pass for the win with less than 10 to go, and Kurt gets it done for 23:11. Great race overall. Loved every minute of it. Loved and then in big long letters, parity this season.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm going to scroll down because let's be real. Everyone waits to find those fun negative ones that are downvoted. I will say, for having less votes than usual, we did actually have a pretty good amount of comments. So I'll read the bottom 3 comments as long as I can. Daniel Blackwell says KFP. That was downvoted. Chrome Diesel says bad race because Toyota dominated.
Darn cheating
Those are bad.
Toyotas.
Dude, the responses are great. First one, you'll survive, and then
The second one, no, I won't.
No, the second one is a cycle: cope, seethe, mauled, repeat. Someone says congrats for being at the bottom, and the other one, I don't think it's not popping up for me. The bottom comment from Cole Kobe says completely terrible. This was the worst race of the season. Has one response and says, "LOL, you can't be more wrong." So good fun stuff. Good fun stuff. But thank you everyone for voting.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate everybody. That was great. We love the poll. Every week on Jarrett's channel, The Iceberg, you can find the poll shortly after the conclusion of the Cup Series race.
Usually to the minute nowadays. I've gotten really good. I've gotten really good at having it set up with 20 to go. Like even when we had horrible reception, like at Martinsville, I had it up as Byron was crossing the line. I was actually pretty proud of myself.
You like to get those real time reactions, that instant gratification.
That visceral reaction.
I've learned that if you put it out with half a lap to go, usually the race is actually over, but the delay means there's half a lap to go for everyone else. So
gotcha.
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to see how close to it I can get it.
Eric's laughing.
It's the little things.
It's such a silly little thing, but I love that
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. You're competing against your own clock. That's good.
There's worse things I could be doing than putting polls up at a good amount of time.
Blue Jimmy fan says that's a 1,000 IQ move. So, well, now that we've wrapped up the Cup race, it was a good time. I think most everyone agrees it was one of the better Kansas races in recent history. Let's talk about the truck race just real quick. I didn't get to see the full thing, but what I did see was largely Zane Smith dominating. Dude has really shown
That's
up.
basically what it was. He was just, if he had the lead, if he had clean air, he was gone. Nobody was going to touch him.
You know what's just weird to think about? We're talking about front row motorsports
Yeah.
dominating a race,
Hey,
even if it's in the truck series.
The future is crazy, isn't it?
I love it. I love that they went down to trucks and started winning. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's smart. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Zane Smith because like he was a guy who, towards the end of last year's season, you didn't think of him as like a championship favorite. He all of a sudden, in his second top,
I think I picked him as the champion during the playoffs.
Well, yeah, well, no. What I
was a
said,
little off, but-
what I meant was like basically like up to the all the way up to the championship 4. Like he only had like 2 top 5s the entire season and stuff. He almost wins the championship, and then he changes teams, and he basically said the performance towards the end of last season helped save his career. And now fast forward to this season, we're not even halfway through the season. He already has 3 wins at a super speedway, a road course, and now a mile and a half. So I don't know. He seems to me to be the championship favorite right now. I mean, he can win anywhere. It seems like.
And he's getting a lot of people's attention because I know he's run some JRM races or run some Xfinity races for JRM in the past when he was even younger. But he's young and he's the kind of guy, he's grinding for all these opportunities that he's gotten. I remember I think his first win a couple of years ago, he was borderline in tears, talking about how difficult it's been for him to get to this position. I don't know his full backstory to the T, but seems like a good dude and cool to see him emerging this year as a true Truck Series championship contender for not a KBM, not a Thor Sport. But yeah, like you said, front row. That's cool.
I seen someone in the chat ask, why did GMS Racing dump Zane Smith? Seemed like a dumb move. I don't think they really did dump him. Originally, the original what come out, he was supposed to get the 1 with Chip Ganassi Racing this year, from what I've read and seen online. But ultimately, when they sold, that deal went away.
Yeah.
So he kind of was already leaving GMS Racing. He was set to be gone from this. It was kind of just like, I think GMS Racing already had the spot filled.
But also too, if we're being honest, he wasn't performing this well too with GMS last year too. I mean, but hey, he seems to have been a blessing in disguise because now he's with his new team, he already has 3 wins this year.
I mean, I'll put it like this: like they put during the race like a graphic up that he was like 3 to 4 tenths a lap faster. Throughout the run of everybody.
He was fast.
I mean, it was like. When you would go on the old EA games and you'd start from like 22nd and then just play on easy mode so you could pass everybody.
That's basically what the race was.
He was passing. He was not racing.
He was in his own world.
Yep.
As Cito notes there in the chat, I forgot about this, but the reports were that after last season, he had a contract to go race Cup this year for Chip Ganassi, and that fell apart when they sold the track house.
Dang.
So my point earlier that he's getting looks.
Yeah, that's what. He just mentioned that. Yeah,
he's getting looks. Yeah, Cito with a good pointing it out as well to you, Danny. Yeah, I think he's got a future, and it's cool to see him winning so much this year.
Yep.
But on that note, sorry, I thought your screen lit up, Jared. I thought you were going to continue.
No, I'm not good.
Stuart Friesen was the other driver I want to mention. He had a crazy weekend. I didn't follow his whole story on Twitter, but he was having plane issues or flights getting canceled, delayed, whatever. Bubba Wallace had to qualify his truck. And I didn't see where he qualified. Did he qualify 5th?
He qualified up front. Yeah, he was up there.
He qualified it pretty well, having just sat. And my bad on that, Danny. I was zoned out. My bad.
I was just like, I literally just said this.
Yes, my bad. I was reading the chat and I was not paying attention. That's on me. But no, Stuart Friesen getting in time for the race. I didn't see where he finished. Did anyone catch where he finished in the race?
He didn't win. I know that much.
I'll pull it up real quick. I got like 1 second. I believe he was. I remember he was up front a lot of it. He finished 14th.
And then somebody in the chat said Bubba qualified that thing P2 actually.
Oh, is it second?
I mean, that's what somebody in the chat said. I don't know.
No, it's 5th.
It's 5th? Okay. Dang it, chat.
I got that one right. I listened to one thing. That's great. That was just interesting. They're both Toyota drivers, different teams. I was trying to figure out why Bubba got the call. I'm not sure if it was something he was like the only guy available or he like fit in his seat better or something. But I just thought it was interesting. But he, good job kind of scrambling at the last minute. That was probably the most interesting part of the whole Truck Series weekend was seeing how they put that together.
It was an uncommon like Truck Series snoozer for the most part. It wasn't horrible. Just for the Truck Series, it was not.
Yeah, I mean, usually for the Truck Series, you're either like I feel like you either get a good race or like one of those crazy, shit show type races. And yeah, add it to the cursing jar, by the way, Jared. But yeah, I feel like you get one of those two races, so like it's very rare to see like a very mid to boring truck series race.
Yeah.
Sorry,
definitely.
I was.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on there. I was like, why?
Oh, it's just a
It's
freaking
fly.
party right outside the room.
Aw.
I was like, okay, I'm live.
He's talking to the fly. It's finally manned up, and he's tired of.
Yeah,
tired of
it's like,
Garrett.
get out of my house.
It is the fly. I am respecting his wishes.
He's got a booming voice.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, I've been distracted by the chat for the last 20 or 30 minutes, but I was also been distracted by super chats we've gotten. We've wrapped up the Kansas discussion. We're going to get into the lightning round, all that other great stuff in just a moment, but I want to begin by getting to some of these early super chats. If one of y'all have a timer, you guys can go and catch up with it. I'm definitely going to mispronounce this. This was for you, Slap, from Katyusha. Oh, gosh. Katyusha wants Eric not to summarize this is for Slap. Oh, this is just for you, Slap. The great Katyusha welcomes Slap to the show, and they're glad that Katyusha is your favorite. I don't know the story behind that. Is there a story behind that? Do you know what that means, Slap?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Not me either. That was the first super chat we got tonight. We also got a couple from our friend Jar Jar Binks. Appreciate that. He loves you, Slap. I'm not doing the Jar Jar voice, but he says that he loves you, Slap.
I'll just do the voice.
Harvick. Harvick's a Karen. Eric, please read this whole thing. Sorry, Jar Jar. He also says that he saw your NASCAR romance novel video, Jarrett, and he asks, "What's your favorite?" He's very curious.
The one I didn't read,
Which is all of them.
all of them, because I didn't read them.
Gordon the Big Engine chimes in with 5. Says, "Forgot to say this, but hello, Slap. I love your videos."
Ah, thank you.
I love your videos too.
Avatar Cora is here. Darian didn't even have to send a super chat. Avatar Cora chimes
You
in.
gotta pay money for that.
The Avatar calls for 500 miles at Pocono, and he's booing, or she, Avatar Cora is booing Harvick and Logano today. Clone Squadron Racing sent 5, saying Gateway will be my first ever attended race. Any tips, advice, suggestions for a first timer?
Yeah, it'll
Get
be
there
my
early.
first time at Gateway too, so I can't tell you nothing.
And also make
Bring
sure to
lots
run
of
on the
water.
track during green flag laps for your first time.
Good point for Slap. Bring water, probably bring your protection, all that
Sunscreen
normal
if-
stuff.
Don't listen to that.
Run on the track, bro. Run on the
Don't
track.
listen to that.
Get some TV time.
Don't listen. I don't know where Darian is, but don't listen to Darian.
Don't climb
Just
the
have
fence.
fun. Don't put too much pressure on trying to see and do everything all in one day. Like, there will be other races, but yeah, good luck. Have fun. Lord Voldemort, thank you. Says the Dark Lord thinks Ratatouille is the best Pixar movie, and he's also booing Kevin Harvick. Napa Racing Fan 927, thanks for the 2. How can the All-Star race improve for the future? I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but in a nutshell, I think, Chase Elliott suggested they should rotate the venue. Others have suggested bringing it to stadiums or in different cities. I think whatever they can do to bring the event to a different audience for one, but more importantly, make the event feel like something different to the naked eye. Like, I would almost suggest they run completely different cars. Put them in like dirt late models and race them around the Charlotte dirt track. I don't care. I just think you need something that differentiates it from a normal NASCAR race, because I think any average fan who tunes in this weekend, it's just going to look like any other NASCAR race with a slightly different format.
Involve the other champions, like Ben Rhodes having a chance to go up against the Cup Series guys.
Sure.
I didn't even think about that one.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go back to
I remember
Chicago.
somebody was talking about somebody floated the idea out there that NASCAR Euro Series, the Pinty Series, the Mexican Series should all have like the same universal car. Then somebody else brought up like we should take the champion from every single series that we have and just like put them all in the All-Star race against all the Cup guys and make them race asphalt late models or something.
I like that. See, that's what I feel like, honestly, bringing in other series and everything is great, but putting them in different vehicles than what they typically race, putting them on different track as well. I think that's really what's going to do it. I know we hit 3 minutes. I'm going to do just a few more real quick because I want to make a slightly bigger dent in this. Hot Piss sent 2 and said beans. Isaac sent 5, said it's All-Star Weekend and Shrek's 21st anniversary. You know what that means? Somebody once told me the world
Shrek
was
is
going
love.
to...
Dude, it's 21 year. Holy crap.
To the day
Break
Shrek
out
was
the
released.
Shrek CRT TV.
Wow.
Shrek can drink.
Katyusha sent 5 as well, and said the great Katyusha encourages you to watch the Blue Jimmy Fan 48 live race reactions video. Jar Jar the GOAT takes part in them, apparently. That's exciting stuff. And one final one before we wrap up this first portion of Super Chats from Jacob, the Tyrant King. He says, sign my box again. And for those who don't know, this man has brought me like a cardboard box, or I think it was maybe 2 different boxes. He's brought different boxes for me to sign at different races he's seen me at this year. So yeah, hopefully we can continue that trend. That's one of the more funny and random memes I've been a part of in recent memory. But thank you all for the Super Chats. We'll get to the rest of them at the end of the show. Appreciate your patience, and thank you so much for the support. Before we get to the lightning round, the NASCAR Weekly Podcast is sponsored by Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. You can pre-order your favorite driver's 2022 Next Gen diecast right now at lionelracing.com or at an authorized Lionel retailer. And be sure to check out the latest NASCAR Authentics waves at a Walmart near you. If you guys saw my video last week, I have one of the Next Gen 164 scale prototypes in my possession. They told me that the cars will begin shipping later this summer. I don't know where to start. Darian and Danny are fighting for screen time over there. What cars do you guys have to show off this week?
So I just got this one in the mail from Lionel Racing. This is the 2021 Alex Bowman Richmond race version. Got some nice details. The back has been up a little bit from where it created some damage to the sheet metal. The tires are roughed up here. Good amount of little kind of like asphalt markings that, really stands out. Make it a race version stands out in like the white numbers and stuff. So good looking car, and a little custom Sunoco flag put in there for good measure.
Yes, and I stole this from Danny B. This is the inaugural Dirt Bristol Cup win car from the greatest Team Penske NASCAR driver of all time, Joey Logano.
False statement.
You know whose channel we're on, don't you?
I'm kidding. But yeah, no, this is tremendous detail. I especially love the dirt tires too, so I love that attention to detail. And yeah, overall it's a pretty cool diecast. So it's awesome.
And so far we're on the race version trend. Eric, you're going to continue us, it looks like.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. We're racing at Texas this weekend, so I've got Matt Kenseth's 2011 race-winning car when he won the spring race at Texas Motor Speedway. I just love the donut there on the 17 on the door. They say if the donut's on the left side, you've been in the way. If it's on the right side, you've been going by people. You've meant business all day long. Also got some little Texas-shaped confetti details all over this thing. It's a beautiful race car. Jarrett, what do you have there? That looks pretty sharp as well.
So I have the first.
We can't see it right now the way you're on the screen.
Yeah,
it's like behind the line.
It's behind the logo.
Like if you put it on the other side, you're good.
There you go. Just put it up a little bit. You're good.
I have the original Gray Ghost.
Whoa!
Can we see it now?
Yeah,
There it is.
We can see all of it.
That junior drove, I should say, not the original, but the Citizen Soldier 3 doors down car. A lot of people forget about that part of it as it won't focus. I figured it's the All-Star race, so have one of the old All-Star schemes, seeing how that's kind of went by the wayside in recent years. Man, I wish I could make special schemes again just for the All-Star race, because this was awesome. In my opinion, this was way better than the one that they did in 2016. No disrespect to Junior, but I don't like the orange on it as much as the red. The red fit it, even if it's not perfectly accurate by any means. But just a beautiful car, and everything's silver. Like even the thing that people forget, everything, even like the amp and National Guard, everything was silver.
Nice.
So
what about you, Slap? We got a taste of yours a second ago.
Yeah, I got the 2013 Brad Light car. It was a terrible year for him, but it was a great paint job. And I remember there was somebody on Twitter yesterday complaining about white rims on cars. To them, I say, heck off. These things are great. I love white rims on cars. They always look great. And this one, I even got it autographed. So that was pretty neat.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome. Well, pretty great collection here tonight. Appreciate Lionel again sponsoring this segment of the show and also sponsoring our next segment. Danny, are you ready on the controls?
I don't have the graphic, but I'm going to duck and cover.
It's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
It's the lightning round for people who couldn't hear that.
Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
We'll hear that. So first off, Culture Kings is releasing vintage NASCAR lines with 22 different products that is currently out right now. Thor Sport won its appeal of the Matt Crafton disqualification from Darlington. So Crafton has now been officially awarded back his 5th place finish. This is reported by Bob Pockris. Daniel Dye has been reinstated by ARCA. Wallbuster.
Where did he finish at Kansas? Did he? I didn't see that race. That much of that race.
I mean,
it's not the lightning.
He didn't get ripped on by Venturini, so he did better. Race for the championship will be a new docu-series like Drive to Survive, which is what they're comparing it to, airing on USA Network throughout the 10 weeks of NASCAR's playoffs. This is announced by Awful Announcing.
I hope they actually do it this year. Didn't they announce it for last year's playoffs and it got postponed?
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro tickets for August and October have gone on sale, and Denny Hamlin's penalty has been upheld, and his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, will be suspended through the Coca-Cola 600, Gateway, Sonoma, and then Nashville. So we won't see him back in a points race till July, and that's the lightning round.
To answer your question, Daniel Dye finished 3rd at Kansas.
Oh, nice. I knew he was up there towards the end.
I think it'd be more fitting if he'd been like 2nd, just saying. 2 for Dye.
All right. Is that it for the lightning round?
I can only hope.
Okay. And once again, that'll conclude another edition of the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
You were like
Danny,
crazy louder that first one, by the way.
Do you appreciate that he's doing that into your microphone now, Danny?
You're gonna have to repair.
It's broken now.
No, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to repair your settings.
Yeah, it topped out. We couldn't even hear it.
Well, we're just in time for the second half of the show. We've got a few other topics to get to before we talk All-Star. First, this episode is also sponsored by our friends at Forney Industries. Get it done with green. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and more. It's great for do-it-yourselfers, or even if you're a professional metalworker. Forney has everything you need for your next project. We appreciate their support. You can shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyind.com. ForneyInd.com. It's down in the description below, or you can find them at an authorized Forney dealer near you. We appreciate their support. And now we can get to the second half of the show. Before we talk All-Star, there have been a few news stories this week, some rumblings, some rumors. First off, let's talk about this conversation. The new manufacturer coming to the Cup Series conversation has been somewhat revitalized. I saw Adam Stern highlighted an article, or highlighted some quotes that were in this Mopar Insiders website, who took their quotes, I believe, from a Kelly Crandall Racing Riders podcast episode. Regardless, it's not Steve O'Donnell once again talking about new manufacturers possibly coming into the sport. According to Steve O'Donnell, he says that they're very close to finals. They're like day to day, very close to finalizing a deal with a new manufacturer. But he says it's depending on who you ask. So still kind of ambiguous, kind of broad, but obviously because this Mopar, Dodge-related website was talking about it, many are speculating once again that Dodge is the front runner. I'm already seeing it all over the chat. One person says Pontiac. That's a bold prediction, but the rest are saying Dodge.
Even in business.
Gentlemen, do you think it makes sense for Dodge to join the NASCAR Cup, rejoin the NASCAR Cup Series in the next couple of years?
I would say yes, because NASCAR's talked about going with electrification, and Dodge is going all in on that in 2024. Everything is hybrid to EV. It's just a matter, I think, of where, because that's the big question here. Because I know everyone's going to talk about SHR, but there's also probably other teams that are open to it. That's what I'm wondering is, yes, they can come in, but who's going to make that jump? That's what I'm more asking. I think it's going to happen. They talked about it so much. I would think by now something would come to fruition with it, especially since it's been out there so much.
Steve Phelps named Dodge last year in a press conference. Like, he named them as can't confirm or deny that Dodge is involved, but
Didn't SHR start up their drag racing program, and they're using Dodges and Mopar engines over there?
Yep.
Technically, it's Tony Stewart's team, but there is that connection.
Which
now.
car would they go with, the Charger or the Challenger?
Aren't they planning to discontinue those cars in the next couple of years? Or maybe they're going all electric or something?
I think I want to. One or the other, I think, is going for sure electric. I'd have to double check.
I don't know for
one
sure.
was being discontinued.
I know.
But
Isn't
I'm not
Chevy
sure.
looking at dropping the Camaro in the next few years?
They're gonna.
That is
I
going
believe they're
away.
discontinuing that one in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, someone said the Dodge Dart. I mean, who knows?
I mean, maybe.
I'll tell you who we need back in NASCAR. Buick.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Hey,
I knew it.
Buicks look nice these days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it says right here the report is that Dodge discontinuing Challenger and Charger by 2024. We'll have
that's what I
electric muscle cars.
So
But they haven't
dang.
said
So,
much from
someone
that.
said a Dodge Demon. Is that a new car that they got?
Dodge Demon.
It's like a offshoot of a Challenger.
And somebody said the
He's-
Dart was
so-
discontinued in 2016, so you can't use
Yeah,
that.
that
Oh
was
my gosh.
discontinued.
What does Dodge
So-
have left?
so
Yeah, that's about that.
looking-
And even
really
then,
quick-
like the truck series, Ram is its own entity. It's no longer like the
Mhm.
Dodge Ram. It's just Ram now. So
Well, looking right here, what they're saying, Dodge CEO Tim, we'll call him Tim. Tim outlined that an electric muscle car concept will be revealed early this year. A plug-in hybrid will go into production next year, and the current lineup of muscle cars ceases production by 2024. There will be a significant new vehicle forthcoming, so it might be that.
The Dodge
So-
Unknown.
Yeah, I mean, we can call it that for now. That would, if it's going to be Dodge, it might be that, because that'd be a way to push it out to more people.
They're bringing the Avenger back, baby.
That wasn't that NASCAR for like 1 year in the Cup Series, like
2007.
07?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was what they
and
went
it
for the
was
COC, and
yeah.
then
it
they
was in
said,
Iraq.
then
It was
they
in
said,
Iraq
you know what,
before
let's
they
get
had the
outta here.
Firebird.
That's
That's
right.
right. It
That's
was in
right.
Iraq.
Maybe they'll rename. Maybe they'll give the name this new car the Intrepid. The Intrepid. They'll bring back the Intrepid.
I want to see something new. I'll be real. I'd like to see something new. But I would think that'd be it. I think the thing that a lot of people noted is that the people reporting it like first after Crandall was like Mopar insiders. So
Yeah, it was.
that's
I
where-
think it was like a fan site, or just kind of like almost like a J ski of Mopar. I don't know. Like they're just kind of running with it, kind of the same way we are, kind of just speculating based on like we've covered this before. The Tony Stewart connection. It feels like it makes a lot of sense on paper, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Like that'd be a huge change for an established Cup Series team, a big team with 4 cars. And it's not all Tony Stewart. Gene Haas is very involved there as well. It'd be a big change for them to switch to Dodge overnight. They've done it before. They went from Chevy to Ford, but it would still be a pretty huge overhaul.
But
Like,
also-
I don't know what team makes the most sense.
But also too, I'm going back to that switch when they made the switch from Chevy to Ford. They were in a much different place performance-wise as a team. Like, would now really be the best time to make that huge switch?
I mean, what happens with Penske? They go back to Dodge?
I think they're so interconnected with the Wood brothers. I don't know if they would do that unless the
Yeah.
Wood brothers would change to Dodge, which would be
That's sacrilege.
Surprising.
That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
That
Wood Brothers would
that
probably be more
wrong.
likely to stick with RFK, I'd say.
Yeah.
Jarrett, just for suggesting that, you need to go to church on Sunday.
Damn.
Damn.
I'm coming to get you.
Somebody
You're
in the
going to
chat, somebody in the
church,
chat said we need
No.
to bring back the Dodge Neon.
No, but I think something that was interesting that I saw was that Kelly Crandall had put out that Toyota actually has been part of the recruitment process
That's right.
for new manufacturers. So I don't know what connection there'd be with Toyota off the top of my head.
Lexus. I don't know. I mean, they're basically owned by Toyota. I don't know if it make business sense, but
Maybe. I mean,
they're
Toyota's
big
put so
sports
much into
cars.
it. See,
What's the big? What's that like main Lexus sedan? It's called like just like the L50 or something. I don't know what it's called. It doesn't
I
have
know
a
they
cool
had the
name, I don't think.
LFA. That was the car that Kyle Busch got caught doing like 120 in a residential zone doing.
He should be there just for that, if that's the case. Just have Kyle Busch front row be like, I know they're fast. No, but I think like a lot of people, are putting different ones in the chat, and it very well might be someone like a Honda or Nissan, because those have been thrown around before. But it's like Dodge has a smoking gun right now with the fact that it continuously gets mentioned over and over.
It's
and
been
over.
mentioned by the president of NASCAR in the last year.
Out of all the other ones,
It's definitely not going to be Nissan. Nissan doesn't have anything
That's
outside of
the
Japan.
Nissan Z.
Yeah.
well,
I
they
mean-
got a good looking truck they can market for the truck series. They got the Titan at least.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
but,
could a new team come over? That could be an option.
Like a new race team. Like what was that
A
rumor?
new factory
And-
team.
What was that
Maybe.
rumor that Cole Pern was going to bring Acura over or something like that?
That was back in was it 2020 or 2021?
It was a year or two ago, and I don't know if there's any. I don't know how valid that rumor ever was, or if it's still being worked on to this day. But like that'd be pretty wild if Cole Pern pulled something like that out of his hat.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'd be surprised.
But Acura
Given his tweet this
Honda,
last week,
they?
Cole Pern tweeted this last week, basically trashing the next gen. So I doubt it's going to be that. But
I'm just
Yeah, we'll see.
what was that, Danny?
I said Acura is basically owned by Honda, though, aren't they?
They probably are. That sounds right.
I love looking at everybody putting these different ones in there, and there's just different things. It's like I know for sure it won't happen. But it just
Alpine,
sounds-
Ferrari,
Hey,
McLaren.
someone brought this up.
Renault.
If Honda did come, their truck series option is the Honda Ridgeline. That thing looks like
Ooh.
everything looks like a minivan, and then it has a truck bed.
Isn't it also just a V6?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know.
What?
It all comes from Ilmore.
Well, then again, Toyota doesn't have a V8 car, so
That's,
Yeah.
Hey, them V6 Camrys though, they will get up and go.
Zippity doo dah. Well, we can let the chat continue to speculate. I don't think Tesla's coming to the Cup Series anytime too soon, but appreciate all the suggestions in the chat. Before we get to picks for the All-Star race, there's one other bit of news, sort of, kind of, we can talk about. I did a video on it today, but Toyota Racing Development's David Wilson talked to reporters yesterday about Kyle Busch's future contract situation. And I don't have any of the quotes up in front of me right now, but I'm going to paraphrase some of his statements. Effectively said it would be unacceptable for Toyota to lose Kyle Busch, for him to leave Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of this year, especially if he went and drove for a competing organization or manufacturer. That would be unacceptable. And he says he's in contact with Joe Gibbs every single week for updates about Kyle Busch's situation. But at the same time, while he's optimistic, he did kind of leave the door open at the end of his statement, saying things like, at the end of the day, it's us, it's Toyota, it's Joe Gibbs Racing, it's Kyle Busch. A lot of us have to come together, and so it's not all like we don't get to make all the decisions. There's a bunch of people that have to come together and make decisions and make things happen. Ultimately, the takeaway that I got from his statements is that it all comes down to sponsorship money. That's another thing he did say, is that Joe Gibbs, maybe we probably already knew this, but Joe Gibbs cannot afford to pay Kyle Busch's salary out of pocket. Like, they're going to need a prominent sponsor if Kyle Busch is going to get paid what he wants to get paid. So we don't know who that new sponsor could be, if they're even close to finalizing a deal with a new sponsor. That's a new thing the chat can do. Instead of talking about and speculating manufacturers, they can speculate new sponsors for Kyle Busch. I know you've done a whole video on that, Jarrett, but
Kyle
that's where
Busch
we're
is
at.
not going to have Rowdy pay for it all either.
Yeah, no.
That's where we're at on the Kyle Busch saga. We're going to talk about some other silly season stuff in a second, but first off with the Kyle Busch saga, I'll just go down the line here. I'm going to put you on the spot, Darian. Yes or no, Kyle Busch drives the 18 next year?
Yes, I feel like they'll figure out something. Something has to be figured out.
Danny, what about you?
I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to give another prediction while we're at it. I'm going to say Menard steps up as a sponsor.
Yeah.
All right. They're getting spread pretty thin here. Jarrett, what about you?
I said this last time. I'm not wavering from yes until there's something definitive that comes out, not just, this would suck, or this. It's like they're going to talk in the media just to kind of get their side pushed more, no matter what side it is. Until there is a report saying that Kyle Busch is not driving for JGR, I will not believe that Kyle Busch is not driving for JGR. So,
Slap, are you going to deviate from this?
I'm kind of in that same boat as Jarrett. Like, I just don't see it happening. But at the same time, what I do see happening is Kyle Busch throwing a hissy fit one day and just saying, "Screw you guys, I'm going home," and going off and doing like whatever the hell he wants. I mean, it's Kyle Busch we're talking about. He could do anything, man.
Yeah.
He's got more
That's
money
fair.
than God. He doesn't care about making other people happy. At any point in time, he could just pick up his ball and go home and do whatever he wants to. So I don't see him leaving the 18 at the end of the year, but it's Kyle Busch. I don't know what he's going to do.
I agree. Kyle Busch is unpredictable, but I will say one thing I think is predictable about Kyle Busch is his love for racing. I mean, he's done double, triple duty almost his whole career. He loves being behind the wheel of a race car. The one thing that's changed is he now has 2 kids. He has a new baby now, And so family life may start to pull at him a little bit, pull him away from racing more and more. That's the only thing that could change his mindset, but we know he loves racing. I'm going to continue to echo what you guys are saying. I think, yes, he stays with Joe Gibbs Racing next year because ultimately I think all sides effectively want the same thing. Kyle Busch wants to race for Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing at a certain price. And I think Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing are willing to pay him at that price, and they want to bring him back because he has their whole development truck team as well, but they need to find a sponsor. So ultimately, the first most important thing is everybody wants the same thing. That part is true. So I think the sponsor thing will eventually work itself out. But like you said, Jarrett, we don't have any hard evidence to suggest either way at this point. It is very much just speculation.
I'll ask Slap, what do you think? Think like a big sponsor like HelloFresh might jump on?
I got a video to send you. I took Monday. You ain't gonna believe
Save
it.
18% with Kyle Busch 18.
My goodness. I want to see YouTube sponsors like that get on a race cars more and more. I think that'd be funny.
Hello
The
Fresh,
Raycon
Raycon.
Chevy,
The Dr.
Raid
Squatch
Shadow
car.
Legends.
Skillshare Ford.
The Factor 18.
Squarespace.
Hey, we saw Roman on Ryan Newman's car a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
I want to see my boys from Canada Fume step up with somebody.
I want to see Kyle Busch do a Manscaped commercial just because I want to see the hissy fit that all these people on Twitter will throw when it's Kyle Busch talking about shaving his balls.
I don't think I could take Kyle Busch seriously. I
No.
just throw it out there. I hate to like trash a potential sponsor for Kyle Busch, but I don't see that working.
We've seen some
I
of the
wouldn't.
Instagram posts that he does with Samantha. I can only
Yeah.
imagine how he would handle a Manscaped.
That'd be crazy. That'd be funny.
It'd be
Well-
about in line.
Oh, maybe that's true. Maybe he's already ready for it. He's been quietly pitching himself to Manscaped all this time, and we had
Yeah.
no idea. Big brain.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
getting away from the 18 for a second, that one, because there's a lot of speculation there, and we don't really know anything. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Let's move to another car that's expected to be available next year that we also don't really know anything about, but we're going to speculate anyways. The 10 car. The Stewart-Haas Racing number 10 car is expected to be open next year because Eric Almirola announced his retirement before the season began. And this past weekend, during like an extra segment on his Stacking Pennies podcast, Corey LaJoie and his co-hosts were sort of speculating who gets the 10 car. And immediately they talk about Ryan Preece, who was just signed by SHR to be their development driver. But pretty quickly, Corey LaJoie mentioned John Hunter Nemechek and said that he believes his people are probably putting some sort of feelers out there, even though he's currently in the Toyota system and the SHR 10 is obviously a Ford. So, guys, there are other big-name drivers out there as well looking for a competitive Cup seat. Noah Gregson's a guy who's hasn't been very shy in recent weeks. He's interested in racing full-time Cup next year, and I don't think he's tied down to any one team or manufacturer. So Preece, Nemechek, Gregson, somebody else. Jarrett, start us off. Who do you think gets that 10 car next year?
So this one's hard because you don't know if Smithfield's going to stay on or not. If Smithfield stays on, then I think basically Smithfield and SHR have their pick of the litter.
True.
Right now, just because he's been the one that's been lined up for, my head says Ryan Preece. I think that's a safe pick. But I don't want to be too safe on this show. I think I've been safe so far tonight with predictions. So I'll go out there. I'll say outside pick that is not one of the three mentioned. We mentioned him earlier, lined up for a Cup ride that fell through. Why not Zane Smith? I mean,
Why not? He's got the Ford connection.
Exactly. He's got the Ford connection, and you can have that big alliance set up. I wouldn't be surprised. Sponsors can come with him maybe. He had everything set up for sponsors before, so why not have that again?
I like that's a good point. Slap, what do you think? Are you going to go outside the box like Jarrett?
No, I think Preece is pretty much as close as you can be locked in without actually being locked in. It makes a lot of sense. He's already on contract. He's established. We know he can race pretty well. Why take a chance on somebody like Zane Smith, who's never raced in the Cup Series before, when you got that guy already on payroll?
Yeah, makes a solid point. Danny, what about you?
Yeah, I'm also with Ryan Preece on this one. Yeah, it would be neat seeing, Noah Gregson getting that for full-time opportunity, but I mean, it's not to say that we couldn't see Colleague want to go full-time with him next year. They got 2 charters. They're just doing the part-time deal with 3 guys, so that's not out of the equation either. So I'd go Ryan Preece. I think John Hunter Nemechek, I would like to see him. I'd like to see him go for an Xfinity Championship with Joe Gibbs, if it's possible. but out of those, Ryan Preece. More, wild card options. I'd say maybe Riley Herbst. If they want to be really bold, just for the big headlines.
Don't do it.
I was about to say,
They've had Danica before.
I was just about. Yeah, I was going to mention.
Why not put another woman in that 10 car?
I was just about to mention that too. I'm going to stay within.
Chaos.
I'm going to stay within the Ford to Stewart-Haas Racing camp. Obviously, Ryan Preece is the clear favorite. I feel like what Jared said earlier, though, if Smithfield stays as a sponsor, then I feel like that's Ryan Preece's ride for sure. But if not, though, hey, I'm just saying, you have two other drivers with funding, and Riley Herbst, and he just mentioned her, Haley D is there if you want to break the internet.
I'll tell you what. I'll push the issue a little more. I know that he has a contract that goes through, I believe, 23. So it wouldn't make sense on paper at the moment. What if Harvick says screw it and just retires like he was going to a few years ago, and you have 2 open rides at SHR? All right, we take out the Preece option, because if two cars are open, he'll get one.
Yeah.
Wide open field. I give it to all of you guys, whoever wants to go first. Who out of the litter do you pick to get the either 10 or 4 car once Preece has the other one?
I would say
do we have funding secured?
Yeah, is funding secured for these rides?
Let's go off that assumption.
Okay, fine. That's different then. So come back to me.
What about Stenhouse? That Corey LaJoy podcast clip, he said that he thinks Stenhouse will stay with JTG, but Stenhouse is represented by Kevin Harvick Incorporated. There's a connection there, perhaps. Maybe I'm overdoing it. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. But what about Stenhouse? I mean, he's 3 straight top 10s. Maybe he's finally figuring it out in his 30s.
I feel like at this point, if you're in your 30s and you've done what Stenhouse has done for the most part, you are the driver you are.
Yeah.
You know
if he has the connection, if he's got the connection. I want to go back for just a moment. I think Ryan Preece, like you said earlier, Jarrett, if Smithfield sticks around in a big way, I think Preece gets the 10 car. But I think if sponsorship is a big question, I think they're going to broaden their horizons. And I do think John Hunter Nemechek is an interesting pick because, well, I don't know how much sponsorship money he really brings. He at least does have a year of Cup Series experience under his belt. We saw him run top 10 a few times in a front row car as a rookie in 2020. No practice, no qualifying.
As a 14.
14. That's true. So I can at least understand where the John Hunter Nemechek speculation is coming from. Even though I like Zane Smith. I like your point about Zane Smith as well. So, but yeah, if we had 2 SHR cars are open, man, that team, they can't afford that. Imagine if their roster in 2023, and this is just, we're getting all out in the weeds now, but imagine if their roster in 2023 is Chase Briscoe, Cole Custer, Ryan Preece, and Riley Herbst. Championship 4 right there. They're screwed. I'm sorry.
Going outside of Riley Herbst, if I have to think of any other talent that's there in the Xfinity Series, someone who can, surprisingly bring a lot of funding between Tax Slayer and the Hot Sauce Company. Myatt Snyder brings a lot of funding with him, and he's not a half bad driver. He's won in the Xfinity Series before.
Yeah.
He's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's all right.
So
I like Briscoe. I like Zane Smith, Ryan Preece, insert driver there. But they can't, if they have both their veterans leave after this year, that team is screwed either way. At least in the short term, they are hosed.
Someone who I think I'm forgetting about who has needed to move up for a long time. Why not Brandon Jones?
He's got funding.
I think.
I believe with the Menards funding for sure, but I believe there's a connection with Joe Gibbs Racing as well.
Okay.
That's why he's been locked down with that.
He used to be an
He's had Menards since he was a Marciardo.
I know. So I guess it's gone with him everywhere.
I want to push even further on this one because I just love doing this.
Oh God!
What is the current mindset at SHR with Cole Custer? Is he set because Haas is there? Because Kurt Busch had Haas and Kurt Busch is not there anymore, and I think Kurt Busch is a much better driver.
Isn't his dad the president of
Penske, his dad's has a stake
not
in
Penske,
that
I'm sorry.
team.
I'm thinking
He's
of Austin.
had Haas since he was in a truck series. So.
Yeah.
Custer
has that 41 car is screwed then, man. Because if they perform how they're doing this year, and he's stuck there.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's just put it that way.
Dude. Well, that already caps the potential of that team long term the way that Custer's been this year.
if we're talking about two rides being open at Stewart-Haas, I mean, we've already talked about him once. Kyle Busch, if he goes out off the reservation and he decides to go over to Stewart-Haas,
Hey,
I mean,
it
why
can happen.
not?
Hey, let's keep
Gene
Busch
Haas
beer over there.
Hey, Gene Haas has paid for a Busch to be in for most of the races before. Why wouldn't you do it again for arguably the better Busch?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine Kyle Busch driving the Busch car.
Yeah.
That would sell
Good
itself. And you know what?
When he's good commercials.
When he and Samantha go off and do their crazy drunk escapades, like it would fit.
Thanks,
the
my sponsor.
It's like I got pulled over. Thanks to Busch Beer.
Imagine seeing Kyle Busch in a plaid flannel shirt. I don't think it would look quite right.
Hey, and also, I guess one final thing, if we want to go way outside the box, you know, they have an F1 team, Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher to the 10.
Ethan comes back.
They just drove a NASCAR earlier this week, so.
What did you just say?
Or they drove a stock car earlier.
Shame.
There you go. Thanks for correcting me.
Danny, hold on.
Oh,
Come on.
Out of my room.
Dude, we seriously need to have more reckless speculation on this show. This is fun.
This
man.
is fun,
I
man.
love reckless
But
speculation.
then somebody
Mark.
will take it out of context and it'll be like, oh, they're serious.
Good.
They're serious.
Do it.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
free marketing.
I'm dead
free real
serious.
estate.
Okay, so up next, we're going to talk about how we're going to the Hall of Fame as NASCAR YouTubers.
Ah, yes. Isn't
All
that?
5 of us, right, Darian? 5?
What was that?
How many?
5, so it'll be
there
all
are
5 of us.
Oh, yeah. All 5 of us. Yeah, that's right. So we have enough people.
Getting away
Anyway.
from some of the reckless speculation. Goodness gracious. Let's get to some reckless predictions because it's not just All-Star Weekend in the Lone Star State. Trucks and Xfinity are racing as well. It's a full-on triple.
And I had completely
header.
forgotten that the Trucks and Xfinity series were even racing this week. So
Well, I hope you got some picks ready.
yeah, I do now.
Let's get into it. Before we get to our picks, let's go over some important need-to-know information. The truck race on Friday is the SpeedyCash.com 220. It starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and MRN. It's going to be hot during the day. It should cool off a little bit by the evening. The high during the day is 96 degrees. Welcome to Texas, gentlemen.
Whoa.
Afternoon thunderstorms are expected. There is an 82% chance of rain. Again, it's a night race, so hopefully that eases up by the time the sun goes down. John Hunter Nemechek won this race last year. The Xfinity race on Saturday is the Texas 250. It's 167 laps. Begins at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and PRN, the Performance Racing Network. They do all the SMI races. This is a hot one. 94 degrees Saturday afternoon. Again, afternoon thunderstorms expected, an 81% chance of rain. So we couldn't end up with a busy Saturday if Trucks gets rained out and Xfinity gets delayed. We'll see. Maybe your ticket on Sunday will be even more valuable. You might get some races pushed there. Kyle Busch won this race last year. I don't think he's in the field this week in
He
the
is
Xfinity
not.
race.
Corey
He's
Heim
not.
is in that.
And so that all sets the stage for the All-Star race, which will be run on Sunday night. It is a 100-lap race. The open, of course, beforehand is 50 laps. The main event begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and MRN. It might be PRN. I think we wrote down MRN.
Let me check real quick. I want to see. I think the Cup's schedule.
Maybe it's
on
MRN because it's the
NASCAR.com said
All-Star
MRN.
race. Either way,
MRN.
radio is radio. You'll find
It's on radio. Let's put it that way.
The open is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's been moved up about 30 minutes from when it started at 6. So back to back, of course, you got the Blake Shelton concert if you're going in person. I think it's even going to be televised partially. Happens before the open race. Sunday's a little cooler. That cold front will have come through and chilled it to a nice, comfortable 79, 80 degrees. Only a 16% chance of rain. Kyle Larson won the All-Star race at Texas last year, of course. And it was announced today, I believe, that Larry McReynolds will once again be the third man in the booth alongside Boyer and Mike Joy.
Yep.
I'm not going to get into the entire All-Star race and All-Star Open format.
It's too much, man.
It's complicated. You're just going to, it sounds like I'm reading the phone book to you guys. However, qualifying is interesting because after the first round of qualifying and they all do their lap and we stack them up based on who's fastest, they're doing a bracket style elimination that will allow 2 drivers and teams to compete simultaneously on pit stops and racing around a lap. I think that's going to be can't miss TV. Having a little 8-car bracket style elimination. I think it's kind of cool. It reminds me of the old pit stop challenge they used to do in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Plus,
It's cool.
So I'm excited about that. The All-Star Open is pretty simple. It's 3 stages, 20, 20, and 10 laps. The winner of each stage moves on to the main event. Plus the fan vote, of course, will grab that 4th and final transfer spot. The All-Star race is a bunch of stages. Basically, all you need to know is if your driver wins one of the stages and stays in the top 15 through the rest of the stages, he will start top 3 for the final stage. That's all you really need to know. And then that 4th spot goes to the winner of like the pit crew challenge that happens in between like stages 2 and 3. It's very complicated. Like I said in my video a few weeks ago, if you're going to watch this race on TV, just sit back and let the content come to you. Don't try to analyze every little detail and aspect and predict what's going to happen next, because it'll just give you a headache. Just accept the racing for what it is. Oh, my guy's restarting 12th on this restart. Don't know how that happened, but I'll just enjoy it.
Hey, something happened. Something happened.
Honestly, you just got to turn your brain off for this race.
Yeah,
I feel like if you
Just
really
crack
want to
open
enjoy
some beers and just let it all flow through.
Be like Slap and
Speaks.
crack open a couple of Keystone Lights or Keystone. That's what it's called.
Not some
Slap
Brad.
speaks from experience. All right, before we get to our picks, Darian, we've got your betting odds. Who are the favorites for the All-Star race?
Ah, yes, the famous betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Yeah, so all of these are favorites to win. Now, keep in mind before I say them, not every driver in these betting odds are automatically locked into the race quite yet. Some have to make it through the Open first, but these are the guys that Vegas feels are the favorites. So Kyle Larson enters this weekend at plus 600 to win, followed by Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott, both tied for second at plus 700. In fourth, William Byron at plus 900, and finally, rounding out the top 5, Ross Chastain at plus 1,000. And then as for the best of the rest, I accidentally put Chastain twice there. It's fine. For the best of the rest, we have Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney at plus 1,200. And for the underdogs, Denny Hamlin plus 1,300, Alex Bowman plus 1,400, Kurt Busch plus 2,500, Kevin Harvick plus 3,500, and Bubba Wallace plus 5,000. Now, before we move on, let's go over the points from last weekend's NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League. And so far this year, we still have well over 95 plus players still playing into the season, even though a lot of us are out of championship contention at this point. We feel like we're just doing it for fun. So I appreciate you guys still playing, including Danny B, who happens to be 1 point ahead of my mom, by the way, for P13. So yeah, just ahead of it. So those are funny little
At least
battles.
I'm doing good in one of our standings.
At least that's so those are funny little battles, fun little battles to watch there. But right now, the top 5. This is the top 5 in the fantasy league. Trevor Sports 98 currently leads just over 11 points over 48 Nation in second. Toyota Tough in third. 24 for Life in fourth. And rounding out the top 5 is UGR2. Now keep in mind, for those who have been playing all season, no fantasy this weekend because it is the All-Star race. It's not for points. So you have an extra week to make your picks for the Coca-Cola 600. Now I don't know if they're going to include the extra stage or not, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, so it's been a very interesting season in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League. Thank you guys for playing.
Looking at those betting odds, not reaching too deep for some of the underdogs, because like Hamlin, obviously not a huge underdog for this race. I'm surprised the 2:23.11 drivers, after the speed they just showed at Kansas, are that low. Even Bubba, I would have put Bubba probably
Remember,
similar
you got to
tiers like
remember
Harvick.
too, some of these odds, a lot of these odds makers, they don't watch racing like that. They just see stats or whatever, and they're just like, okay,
That's
this is
fair.
all right. This will play, have this guy at such and such odds. So hey, take advantage of it too. Yeah, you got a chance to win some money. So.
All right, before we get to picks, we're almost there. I feel like I keep teasing the chat here.
close.
Our pick points, our podcast pick points. Chat, you're going to like this. You guys have really closed the gap. I'm still leading with 210 overall points, but chat is -4, keeping me honest. Darian is in third, a solid third, -20. Jarrett is fourth, -53. And Danny right now back there with him in fifth, -60.
Oh, what happened? You were just ahead of him.
I got back on the basement couch, and Jarrett went up the stairs a little bit.
Who'd you pick to win? Tyler Reddick? Was it Tyler Reddick?
I picked Reddick last week.
I picked Larson.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I don't even remember either.
Oh, I picked Bowman.
I think I think I got the top pick in both. So
That'll do it. Well, let's get started. We've got 3 races to pick for, so I hope you did your homework, Slap. We're putting you on the spot here. I'll go first. We go in order of the points, so I'll kick things off with the Truck Series winner. I'm going with Christian Eckes. One of my most recent memories of Eckes at Texas was when he got wrecked and ended up flipping off. I think it was Ben Rhodes. I think he's going to win it. I think from that low to a high, I think Christian Eckes wins it.
Hey man, this guy wins everywhere, any type of track imaginable. So I'm gonna stick with it. I say he gets 2 wins in a row. Zane Smith.
So I'm going to go with Darian on this one. Zane Smith was one of the top guys when it came to Las Vegas. He's been one of the best guys all season, mile and a half. So I think it's going to continue here. I'm going to pick Zane Smith as well for the Truck Series.
Eric, you weren't alone. I was also going with Christian Eckes for this one. I think this is going to be a solid track for him. Slap, what do you think?
I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek.
Making a safe pick?
Yeah,
And it looks like
he
the
and
chat-
Kyle Busch equipment is always money. I mean, you can never bet against
That's
this
true.
And
I
looking
think
at
the chat's
chat-
going John Hunter as well. It was between him and Zane, but I think John Hunter's edged ahead, at least by a bit. We're getting a few 38s, but I'm seeing a lot of 4s and JHNs. I got to
Should we
keep
do a
both of them in
poll?
mind.
Probably should
I
do a
think
poll for this.
I feel like it's kind of running away with Nemechek, but I'll go and do a poll real quick.
Yeah,
Until
and there's a lot of
their Xfinity pick
38s. I would
comes
do a
up.
poll.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I got to do that before I even make my Xfinity pick.
Sorry, we make you do all the work.
Oh,
around
sorry.
here.
I don't know. That's a lot of 4s. I think the 4s are winning.
I think it's 4s. I'm gonna stick
Okay.
with 4s.
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Hunter.
That's fine. Yeah. Go with John Hunter. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not very good. As we've determined tonight, I'm not very good at multitasking on multiple screens. So let's go and move on. We'll give the chat John Hunter Nemechek. I think that's a pretty solid pick. We'll move on to the Xfinity race on Saturday. I'll kick things off. I'm not going to go too far off the beaten path for this one. I'm going to go Ty Gibbs. I just feel like he's going to win Texas. Texas just feels like a pretty typical racetrack. The best cars are going to bubble to the front, and that's typically got Ty Gibbs' name written all over it.
Hey, look, picking this guy or picking this team last time for the Xfinity Series came back to bite me in the ass because they didn't even make the race. So hopefully, no weather issues this time. They can make the race. If they do, William Byron takes home the win in the 88.
Didn't you? There's 81% chance of rain.
Yep. See, I'm going to tell you what.
You're already locked in.
Yeah, you're locked in, man. It's my pick now. So I'm gonna say this, man. I was gonna pick Byron.
I didn't know about the 81% rain though.
Oh, where's he at in
said
points?
it on the stream.
Is he
Damn it.
good enough? He might still be good enough in points now. I don't think he is, but he might be.
No, that car hasn't
The
rained.
88. Yeah, the 88
since
hasn't
then.
run this year.
It hasn't run. Oh, it hasn't run since then.
No.
My bad. I thought it ran.
Yeah, since,
I thought it ran
since
last.
junior.
Oh, never
No, it
mind.
was supposed to, but that was Chase Hill.
Hey, I'll
remember?
take the risk.
Yeah,
I thought
let's
it
go
ran
88.
last
I'll
week
take
or
it.
2 weeks ago. Never mind. You're right.
I was going to pick him when the chance of rain was inverted and it was 18% earlier this week, but it's went up to 81%. The chance of rain on Friday and Saturday has went up even more. I got to go with Ty Gibbs. The 54 car dominated both races last year at Texas. It's a safe pick with a driver who, in my opinion, I think is a better driver than John Hunter Nemechek in that car so far. So I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs as well. I'm going to keep it safe.
Put Ty Gibbs in the 10 car next year.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck.
No, I'm not going that route. I'm going different from the Ty Gibbs train though. I'm actually going with AJ Allmendinger for this one.
Good one.
I've been waiting for Colleague to show more consistent speed this year. I just feel like they're a tad off, just a tad.
I think this is where they'll get it back. I think AJ goes victory lane.
I'm going to go with colleagues Cup guy part time Noah Gragson. I think he's shown a lot of speed here lately. I think last time he was in position to win a race at Texas, Harrison Burton ran him down at the last second. And I think he's still mad about that. And Noah Gragson, he's better when he's mad. So I'll be looking forward to see what he does.
Looks like the chat agrees with
Chat's going the same way. I'm seeing a lot of 9.
you. Yeah.
There's some 16, some 54 here and there, but I'm seeing a lot of 9.
I'm seeing a lot of 9s, man.
I'm seeing a lot of 9s. I was going to go and do a poll just in case because I did see a lot of Gibbs and I see a lot of Allmendinger as well. So I'm going to go and do a poll for that one because I was
Answer
prepared.
me. Poll?
All right. Cool. That is
But
rolling
please don't
now.
rain, dude. Come on. Like I picked Byron and stuff, and I had completely forgotten about the whole rain thing. Please don't rain, y'all.
All right. Before we get to our Cup win pick, we have to talk about who we think is going to suck this week. It's interesting because there's the open race, so a lot of guys aren't even going to qualify for the main event. So it kind of opens up the opportunities here. With that in mind, I'm going to pick Cole Custer to suck. I know that's not very.
I was about to pick him too. I was going to pick Custer too.
I was looking at the list of the open drivers, and I'd be like, who, like, because we already talked about this. Like, there's like 22 or 23 guys already locked into the main event. Like, there's like 20 guys locked in the main event. No. 22, I think. I think they only like 14 or 15 racing in the open.
I think the poll is answering itself right now.
It looks like Gregson. Yeah, you're right. No, they came on strong. But I was looking at guys who aren't qualified, who are in the open race, and who would it be embarrassing if they didn't make it for? Like, I'm looking like if Erik Jones doesn't make it, it'd be a shame, but it won't be embarrassing. It won't be embarrassing if Suarez missed. It'd be a little, but not terrible. If you missed out on an SHR car when I think all your buddies are in, like that's kind of going to suck. All your teammates are in and you're not.
That does suck. But yeah, Cole Custer, that's my pick for who's going to suck as well.
I'm going to go with someone who's going to be in it for sure because he won last year, but I don't think he's going to be doing too good here on this kind of oval. AJ Allmendinger. I think he's going to be the one to suck in the All-Star race.
After literally winning an Xfinity race, as I predicted.
Difference of a Cup and Xfinity car, though.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yeah, I'm also going a colleague route, but I'm going to say his teammate, Justin Haley. I think he's going to struggle in the open.
And I'm going to say Briscoe.
Interesting.
I haven't seen a whole lot from Briscoe that makes me think like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to put it all together in the All-Star race.
Yeah,
I just don't see that happening.
Chat has been between Custer and I'm going to say they're going Keselowski. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be big Rat fans this week. That's just for you, Slap.
It's only because you're here.
We'll go Keselowski.
Damn.
Over there. Shifting to the Cup Series dark horse, I'm going to go with Austin Dillon. He's a guy who has to race his way in. He's in the open, but he's won at Texas before. RCR, despite their cars being just outside the top 16, they're pretty consistently top 10 capable, which means I think Austin Dillon will win one of the open stages. So I think Austin Dillon makes it in and sneaks into at least the top 10 in the main event.
Yeah, I'll go with Brad Keselowski as my underdog. It's crazy that we're at this point in his career, Keselowski's even considered an underdog. But sorry, Slat, based on the way he's ran this year, sorry, I got to put him in the underdog category. He's already locked into the race already, right?
Keselowski
he won his
okay, that's what I
last year.
thought. Okay. So, hey, sometimes crazy things happen in these, type races. And, with the format in place, it seems like, hey, there's going to be a bunch of wild, different wild running orders and stuff throughout the evening. So, be on the lookout for Keselowski. Hey, might pull it off.
I'm going to go with this guy because his team is really hot on the mile and a half as of late. And when I say as of late, I mean 4 days ago. I'm going to go Bubba as my dark horse. He's going to be in the race to win at Talladega, so they can focus strictly on this race. And you know what? If he brings a speedy at Kansas, he might be even a threat to win.
I think the team is good. He hasn't been all the way there. But I think as an underdog, Daniel Suarez is a solid one to go with. I think he will be the one who wins stage 1 of the All-Star Open and gets in that way. If not, I think he's definitely going to get in either one of the stages or the race win or the fan vote. Either way, he's going to be in the All-Star race.
He just needs a little luck. That's all
I think he can do good, and he might even have an opportunity to do a Casey Kane 08 run and come in and have a chance to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for a dark horse pick, Chris Buescher. Won at the dual race in Daytona. Car's got speed. He's arguably been way better than Brad. He's had way more consistent finishes, and I see him winning a stage in the Open, transferring to the All-Star race, and doing pretty well. And if the cards fall right, maybe make a push for the win.
I like it. Chat has been pretty split between Tyler Reddick and Erik Jones. I was going to give them Erik Jones just so they can still pick Reddick to win if they want, but I honestly think they're going Reddick for underdog, so I'm going to give them Tyler Reddick as their underdog.
Too late, Chat. Too late.
It's tough. It's close. So we'll move on to what's our last segment, Darian? I always forget.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win the All-Star
And
race?
side note,
gonna
I'd like
pick
to
them
say
up?
this: the last 2 years, the one who has won the All-Star race has went on to win a championship too. So keep that in mind.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that kind of suspicious note, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch to win the All-Star race. He won at Texas in 2020. I know growing up, I saw him win a couple races here. Felt like he was always up front. And Joe Gibbs Racing showed a lot of speed at the last mile and a half here at Kansas. So I think Kyle Busch will win the All-Star race. And he, honestly, I think he's a championship 4 contender. I won't rule him out as a championship threat at the end of this year.
You know, like, as much crap as we give the All-Star race, at the end of the day, it at the very least brings out the best of the best. Usually, you know, the best drivers win that race every single year, outside of a few other occasions. So for that, and also because of the point Danny just made with, you know, the winner the past 2 seasons winning the championship, right? I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. I feel like he will win 2 All-Star races in a row at Texas.
Well, if I'm going to dig myself out of this points hole that I have to lead with Eric, I'm going to have to do it in the truck race because I'm also going to pick the same as Eric for the Cup race as well as Xfinity. I'm going to go Kyle Busch. It's just with how fast that 18 car has been at the mile and a half. So he's almost never been the fastest one, but he's always up there compared to all the other Toyotas. He's one of probably the 3 best on those tracks this year. So I think that this kind of shorter race that Kyle Busch can just go for broke will suit him, and I think he'll get the win.
Whether it be a truck race at Martinsville, a late model race at Hickory and Nashville, and provided it doesn't rain, when this man has extra seat time, he just becomes a whole other animal so far this season. And I'm going to say William Byron will win the All-Star race this year.
Solid prediction.
Historically, Chip Ganassi Racing has always been really good at the All-Star race. So you got Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray, but they're not around anymore. Trackhouse is. I'm going to go Ross Chastain.
That's all. That's who I was also considering. But I
like
thought about
this.
the Byron with extra seat time point.
A lot of good picks. I feel like everyone had really good rationalization for their picks as well. Good job, gentlemen. Even though many of us will be wrong and only a few of us may be right.
It's going to be
I
me
feel
in the
like we're all
basement, I know.
winners.
At least it sounded like we knew what we were talking
At least
This was
it
a hell
sounded
of a
intelligent.
segment right here.
I already know that Byron's not racing in the Xfinity Series.
See, watch me say this and like someone from out of the pack wins. It's like I don't know, like Michael McDowell somehow ends up winning
something
it.
crazy.
We all look like idiots.
I do like that idea of Daniel Suarez pulling like a Michael Waltrip and randomly winning the All-Star race from the Open.
So I saw the chat, and Gian just pointed this out. He says the chat is split between Larson, Byron, and Logano. I saw.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Larson, Logano's, and Byron's.
I'm not saying the Logano as much. I'm saying the Larson and Byron, though.
Yeah.
All right, I'm putting it together. Don't y'all worry. Don't you worry. I'm doing this. We're happening. It's happening
Answer
here.
us!
Answer.
Cole?
Be happy.
All right. Ask your community. Indeed. Let's do it. All righty.
Oh, yeah, and Wallace was in there, too. I saw a few Bubbas in there.
Yeah, so I went and threw him in there. A lot of people are saying 23. GN said 23 as well. So we'll let that poll sit for just a second.
I had thought about Wallace. I just wasn't sure.
I like him as a dark horse pick. I can't remember which one of you guys picked him as a dark horse, but Jared did. I like him as a dark horse pick, but I'm not. He had one race this year where I was like, oh, he could win, and his pit crew blew it. So I'm not ready to say he's going to win the race
Logano's
just
not
yet.
really popular in the chat, as we just just noticed.
Definitely Larson versus Byron. I'd be more curious how this poll would look if we took Logano and Wallace out of it, but no need to do
That is
that.
what it is.
I'm going to get to reading some of the final super chats real quick while the poll runs for just a couple of minutes. Let me catch up. From Nova Stone 12, this is a while ago. We appreciate the support. Hopefully you stuck around. What will the reaction be if Blaney is second in points and misses the playoffs due to at least 16 winners? Will NASCAR change rules next year to top 16? I don't think so. I hope they don't.
I don't think so.
I think NASCAR should keep the format as is or switch it back to the old Winston Cup era format. There's no in between. No more tweaks.
You can't change it anymore. You've already changed it so many times.
This is the chaos they want.
SDJ2, thanks for the 5. Clint Boyer / Jamie Mack Don't talk over each other in the booth challenge. Level impossible. I did notice that. Boyer especially felt very interruptive, but McMurray did a few times as well. They were kind of. Andrew Mayer, thanks for the $6. These $6 are in honor of NASCAR's greatest protagonist and hopefully rub off on Brad K for some good runs. A top 15 last week was a good start. Thank you, Andrew. Kylito's Corner, good to see you. Time to stop the hate for Harvick. Boo Giggles Logano. We've got a war going on in the chat. Hot Piss chimes in again, says 5 lugs or bust. Dusty Conger, thanks for the super chat. He sent 20. Appreciate the support. Hey, Eric, said hello to you at Martinsville at the White Tents. Really awesome to meet you, brother. Love the content. Have fun at the All-Star race. Me and my wife are going to the Coke 600 next week.
Oh,
great meeting you as well, Dusty. Yeah, that was awesome. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the very generous support. Crash the Hedgehog sent 2, said, rooting for Erik Jones has been painful this year. Believe me, I've been watching Jones closely, and yes, there have been some very painful moments this year. This past weekend was just the latest. Had to laugh away the pain at the end of the day. MH, thanks for the 5. Do you all think Martin Truex will be back next year? I don't see JGR wanting to lose those sponsorship dollars with what is going on with Kyle Busch. I think Truex sticks around, but the difference between him and Busch is that, like I said, Busch wants to come back for sure, and Toyota wants him back. Truex, I feel like he's kind of leaving this door slightly open to maybe stepping away or doing something completely differently. I can't tell how badly Truex really wants to race next year. I don't know if y'all have seen anything different. I guess not. We'll see. We'll see what happens to Truex.
We'll
I'd be surprised if JGR just let him walk, but who knows? And who knows how committed Bass Pro Shops really is to Truex? I imagine they are, but who knows? It feels like they're everywhere in the sport. Napa Racing Fan 927 sent 2 more. Said #kick Boyer out. #Mac and Mac booth. Geez, I'm getting aggressive. Groovy Goose, thanks for the 2. M&M's to Michael McDowell. It's his initials. Put this little emoji.
They're leaving all together.
Yeah,
so.
they're leaving all together though.
That was just a front. They're actually going to Mike McDowell. He's right. Groovy Goose has inside information.
Master plan all along.
Naming random drivers sent 2 and said Stephen Light. Didn't he win Rookie of the Year?
He won a Busch race in 2007 at Kentucky, and he won the 2012 Cup Series Rookie of the Year.
Yes. I couldn't remember if it was 2011 or 12. Yes. Thank you, naming random drivers. Jay Creeder, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thanks for the 5. Zane Smith is being groomed for the 34 car. Him and McDowell already share Love/Speedco sponsorship. See, I think that's just because he drives for Front Row. But I feel like Zane Smith, if he got a contract because he is winning a lot of races, if a bigger, more competitive team offered him some money, they had a sponsor,
but
Smithfield maybe hanging around already.
But also, if I'm Front Row, with how good he's doing, hey, you try and keep him for, maybe try and move him up too if you're Front Row, maybe.
At some point, he may be too expensive for Front Row. I don't know. Thank you, Alex Vivieros, for the 5. The speed Zane Smith showed on Friday is what I call, I have a wedding and honeymoon to pay off. I'm getting my trophy and check. See you later. I like that. That's a long title, but I respect it. That's good. Matt Deason, thank you for the 10. Really appreciate the generous support. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it. Keegan also dropped 10. Appreciate that. The hilarious moment of the race was when Boyer said they need to cut his nut off, then Jamie trying not to laugh while further explaining what Clint meant by that. Yes, that was a great moment as well. Good comic relief. Groovy Goose, thank you for the 5. There are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Mark Martin finishing second. Then famous Iceberg UFO. I had to read it. He sent $5. I'm sorry, Slap. I had to read it.
I'll give you $5. Don't read that.
Melon Smasher 1, thanks for the 5. Hey boys, I hope this week is good. And until Eric admits it, I will always remind everyone that Ratatouille is overrated. You weren't here, Slap, but a few weeks ago, Jarrett said that Ratatouille is an overrated Pixar movie. I get it to an extent. Everyone loves it. I think it's worth all the hype.
I always knew I hated Jarrett.
Yes. Anyway, the chat now has been chiming in either way since then. So
Barbara disagreed with me too.
Oh, good. We've got you. We've isolated you from all your friends and family. This is the first step into converting you. Kyle P, thanks for the super chat. Anybody catch highlights of the Indy 800 held on Sunday?
Yes.
Darian said he did. I did not.
Wait, you talking about the Indy Road Course race?
I assume he means the Indy Grand Prix.
Yeah. No, it was
Colton
crazy.
Herta with that epic save.
Yeah,
That's
he had
the
the
one-
epic
big highlight I
save. He
saw.
went on to win the race. But yeah, no, that race was crazy just from the weather alone and stuff. It was crazy, but it was a great race.
Alexander Karabitsis, I'm saying that correctly. Do you guys think having a European OEM would increase NASCAR's global credibility? It could. I feel like NASCAR is so focused these days on North America that any credibility they may get out in Europe, I just feel like it's going to be so hard for them to cut into what Formula One already has established.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would, but I just feel like at the end of the day, those will be small numbers compared to what NASCAR is really looking for. I mean, most all the sponsors are like American-based sponsors, that they're focused on U.S. audiences, and it's just going to be a long time until Europe is a large enough number on NASCAR and the team's radars that I feel like it really moves the needle. But maybe I'm wrong. You got to start somewhere. So I don't know.
I mean, are there any like European manufacturers here in America? I mean, there's BMW in South Carolina. It's
Volkswagen. Do they? I don't know if any cars are made here. I didn't know BMW or was made here. I don't know if any European cars are made here. That's a good question.
Yeah, I know in South Carolina you see an awful lot of BMWs running around because there's just so many people that work at that massive plant up there.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question, but I appreciate the super chat, Alexander. Gavin Adcock, always good to see you. As a Larson fan, Kansas was infuriating. Got a penalty, got into the wall twice, and finished second to a Busch. Sad times. Thank you, Jake, for the 2. Colton Herta to the 10. You put a laughing emoji, so don't take him too seriously. But Colton Herta, we talked about Larson stealing the show with his saves. We just mentioned Colton Herta also stole the show in the IndyCar race.
He's stealing the show, bro. Yeah, no, he's doing his thing, man.
Sam I am 224 said, how about Matt Crafton to the 10? I feel like his chance is kind of come and gone.
Man.
I feel like.
Come on.
Didn't
it take him like 10 years to win a cup or a truck race?
Yes, yeah.
He's won some championships now. He's a Hall of Famer.
With also 0 wins in a season, too.
Yeah.
Bake the Snake, thank you for the 5. Darian jinxed it. It's going to rain now.
Aw.
Shouldn't have picked William Byron.
I hope not, man, because that would suck if I lose points 2 weeks in a row for Xfinity, man. That would suck.
Groovy Goose sent another 2 and said, hands down, 5 of my favorite YouTubers. Thanks, Spin the UFO.
Thank
you so much,
you.
Groovy Goose.
Hey.
It's very kind of you to say. Ryan Boucher sent 5, said, bold prediction, William Byron for the win at the All-Star race and the Coke 600 back-to-back.
I could see it.
That's pretty bold.
I could see
That's
it.
bold. Atmos1 said, Eric, will you make another Groovy Grid video? I haven't done one of those in a long time, so I do not
Eric.
know, but possibly.
Please.
I'm glad to know people want more of those videos. I appreciate the comment. Just a few more real quick. We can look really quick at the poll from earlier. Looks like Kyle Larson's running away with that. So chat, your pick for the Cup race this weekend, the All-Star race, is Kyle Larson. Last few super chats real quick. The Dom Goblin sent 5, said, when will the Buc-ee's/NWP sponsorship on a cup car happen? Eric, put this in the sponsor fund. A little each time will help. See y'all at Nashville.
That'd be a cool
the Dom
collab,
Goblin.
though. That'd be a dream
A
collab.
Buc-ee's car period would look great. If we could
Yeah.
sneak our way on there some way, that would be special. I appreciate that. I would like the idea, Dom Goblin. I feel like Buc-ee's, they don't need to advertise probably in NASCAR, but it'd be a pretty cool thing. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the kind of thing their
It's
owner or
such a
someone
perfect
would be like,
place, guys.
oh, that's kind of cool. That's like a legacy thing right there. Chat, there's one right next to Texas Motor Speedway for people going to the track. So, it's in the shadow of NASCAR already. Or maybe vice versa. NASCAR's in the shadow of Buc-ee's. So Buc-ee's is huge. Chat Sessions, thank you for the 5. Can I get everyone's opinion on Iowa Speedway and a potential cup race there? I don't have a hot take yet. Oh,
Not
Jared
gonna
says
happen.
it's not happening. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so, I mean, the place is damn near shut down.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not. Yeah, I mean, like maybe a few years ago there was a possibility, but like now, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
it's-
place is kind of knocking on death's door.
Well, and I stopped at the gas station that's right across from it on the way to Kansas, and that place is in the middle of nowhere. Like, it doesn't fit what NASCAR wants to do. Like,
Yeah.
at least with my Chicagoland gripes, at least Chicagoland is like right in the middle of like, and Joliet is right on the way that people go to different towns and different, port towns and different stuff like that for shipping. Like, at least you can make an argument that people go there. Who's going to Newton?
People passing through going to Knoxville.
Yeah,
For the Nationals.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sly Supersonic, always good to see you. Sent $10.04. Said, "How's my fantastic," put in all caps, "Fantastic Four doing?
Fantastic.
Slap Shoes. How's the old Buick doing?" And then he says he's got some rankings for us here. Slap Shoes is my third favorite NASCAR YouTuber. Iceberg, you're first. Congratulations.
Ooh, nice.
NRF, our good great friend, is second.
He puts out great
Slap,
content.
and Slap,
He
you're
does.
third, coming in on the podium. Congratulations. Thanks for the super chat, Sly Supersonic. And then Kyle chimes in again. Kyle P from earlier says, "Not the Grand Prix. The Indy 800 is a Crown Vic race that
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't see that
McFarlane
one.
held.
I did
not
that.
see that either.
Yeah,
So sorry, cannot speak to that, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank
Is it up on YouTube? We'll go check it out at some point after the show. But thanks for the super chat. Napa Racing fan sent 2, said Indy 500 pole pick. Johnson was fast in practice. Yeah, wasn't he third? I think
Yep.
yesterday in practice.
Hey, be on the lookout, man. He might. Take
I feel like
it.
such a casual IndyCar fan, but I'm like, I kind of just want to pick Jimmy
He's
Johnson.
gonna podium,
for
bro. I
everything.
think he'll podium. Watch, he'll podium at least.
Arian jinxed him.
I haven't followed. I'll admit I've been slacky. I have not kept up with all of David Land's latest videos, so I need to do my research before I make a bold Indy pole prediction. But yeah, I'm just gonna go Jimmy for now because I'm a lame NASCAR fan. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Anybody else have any other bold predictions there?
Hey,
I'll
I think
save- I'll
I
save it
said
for
he would
next
podium.
week.
It's pretty bold.
I'll save IndyCar for next week.
Final 2, Bake the Snake. Who's the best chance to full send it and fail?
I mean, Chase Briscoe has a track record this year.
I still don't. That wasn't a slide job. That was I don't know.
That was a failed job.
pile drive job.
Failed job.
Good job.
That wasn't even a
Larson
bump
has a
and run.
history.
That was a bump and stop.
And the final one from Melon Smasher 1, Jimmy Johnson to the 10. And of course, he spelled Jimmy with a Y. The football coach will go to the 10 car
Yeah.
next year. And Ms. Craft, good to see you, Ms. Craft. What's everyone's toothbrush color?
Red.
What a way to end the show.
I have
Mine's
4
blue.
toothbrushes. I have a
Hey.
red one, a green one, a blue one, and a white one. Yeah, I don't know. I just
One for the canines, one for the pre.
Are you like going in there like,
molars?
like how do you have so many?
I don't know. I guess I don't know.
You better have perfect teeth, man.
They do look
I just
pretty
have
good.
4
It
of
must
them.
be working. Yeah. You got that winning smile.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On that happy note, Kyle Larson is the chat's pick for the All-Star race, and that is going to do it for another beautiful edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Slap Shoes, thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us the whole 2 hours. I apologize for waking you up from your glorious nap.
Yeah.
But
No,
thank you for being
I had
on.
agreed to do this like 2 weeks ago, and then I was like, I'll just take a quick little nap and not set my alarm, and everything will work out fine.
Well, we appreciate you being on. Everyone, go check out Slap's latest video about Kevin Harvick and his contribution to
He's the real
bushwhacking
bushwhacker, not Kyle
dilemma.
Busch.
It was a great video. Yeah, definitely go check out Slap. Do you have anything else you want to call out? We have your channel link in, I think, the description, maybe even the title. I'm not sure. But anything else you're working on that you want to tease a little bit, Slap?
I got a top 10 video coming up. I got biodegradable working on that. We're changing up a lot of stuff, and it's going to be different from some of the other top 10 videos, but I'm excited for it. And going to do another biopic for a driver. It'll be Upside Down and on Fire, the Ballad of Clint Boyer.
Oh,
Nice.
That's
I
good.
like it.
I love it already.
Awesome stuff. Well, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Obviously, the usual panel. Good to see you guys again. Apologies for missing last week. I was off last week. My sister was graduating college, so I was out of town for that. But I'm back in it for the long haul, week in, week out. And speaking of week in, week out, we will be back next Wednesday night, May 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, our usual time. We'll be on the Iceberg's channel next week. I think he's in the box right below me. We'll be on Jarrett's channel next week. So be sure to subscribe to him. Make sure you subscribe to all the hosts here. We'll be going over all the events from the All-Star race, All-Star weekend, and we'll be joined by David Land once again. He was on the show a few weeks back, but now that we're officially in the month of May, we got to bring David
We
in
gotta
and
have him on, bro.
get his
Well-
Indy 500 perspective and all that great stuff. So it should be a fantastic show.
One
if
big
anyone-
thing too.
What?
For the chat, remember, we do pick the Indy 500 winner. Your pick is the highest super chat winner by the end of the night. So
Yeah.
just prepare
Yeah.
for that one because it gets nuts.
Wonderful stuff. On that note, we will see you all next week. thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Until next time, take it easy, y'all.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Does anyone have the Dale call?
Does Danny have the outro playing? I hope
It's going now.
Oh, good. Sweet.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes! 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 Oh, what a year!